and welcome to Poker Night Live. I'm Kara Scott, and with me is TV's Nick Wealthall.
Hello.
Hello, and we are here for the next 4 hours taking you through poker, basically, in its various forms of Texas Hold'em. We will be looking at cash games, we'll be looking at tournaments, multi-table tournaments, and we even have a little bit of a special treat for you in the first hour. We're going to be looking at one of our very own, Michelle, one of our very own presenters, in a multi-table tournament.
Really?
How exciting.
Really? Mm-hmm. Can we take the mickey?
No.
Right.
We must be very serious about this. Okay. Besides, I think she's probably done very well. Although we don't actually know what the outcome is, of course.
It's a big surprise to us all.
It is a big surprise, but they've made it a bit more interesting as well. The holders of the tournament have decided to put a bounty on Michelle's head in the game, as well as two of the other players.
So I'm just thinking, how does she balance it? Sorry. So childish.
Stay with me here.
Yeah,
Stay
sorry.
with me here. If anyone
so they get more money if they knock her out?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Right. Sorry.
Thank you for explaining that. Mm-hmm. Now,
it's going well, I think.
It is. I was just going to say, it is beginner's night or amateur night.
Yes.
As we do call it here on Poker Night Live. So if you've got any questions or comments about poker, about your own games, about strategy, let us know here in the studio. Our expert, I hesitate to use the word sometimes, our expert, Nick Wealthall, is here.
Well, you don't want to say
questions.
expert or super expert, do you? Or
well,
guru?
Guru. I was going to say guru. But if you want to ask him a question, text poker and your question to 84222.
New number.
I know, I was just saying that's a new number there. Yeah. Or you can email the expert, and obviously, again, that will be Nick. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, and if you want to have your say live on air, 0906 200 70 80, and you can leave a message or a question and it will be played out, but do ask for permission because there is a small charge for using that number. So there you go. That's how you get in touch with us here. Now, you may be wanting to ask us questions about the games you're going to see, so why don't we go and take a look around the tables and see which games those are?
Oh, yes.
That would be your bit now.
Here we go.
All right.
Let's see the games. I'm going to have a fiver that they're all poker.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe bet, Dan.
They almost always are. This is a $5 sit and go.
I see.
In the early stages. Welcome along, everybody, tonight, by the way. We're going to learn a lot tonight.
We are, aren't we?
I have good feelings. Learning will take place for those that want it. For those that don't, entertainment. $10 sit and go, this is. Also in the early stages. And Kara's going to play poker, aren't you, Kara?
I am.
We'll have Beat the Presenter as well, guys. This is a 50-cent $1 cash. For those that are keeping notes.
Yep, like me.
Like you. And this is our $5 special Snickers on Michelle's head. And Michelle's in C3. There you go. PokerZone_M.
Yes. Or Michelle, as she'll be known from now on. It's just easier that way.
Okay. She seems to have quite a lot of chips. Did she start with more than everyone else?
I don't think so.
Right, so how's that happened?
Well, I imagine it's because she's actually quite a good player.
And that's the great thing about poker. Even a bad player can beat a good player on a given... No, I'm joking.
I really hope she's watching right now.
She will be watching. Michelle, you are a good player. And the viewers have seen Michelle's progression since she started with us. And I can't remember how much she knew about poker. Not a whole bunch.
Not very much at all,
and,
actually.
She's now a very good player. And it's a bit worrying.
Good. I like
because
it.
Because we're all very complacent in the experts' corner, and you guys are going to start knocking us off.
Well, you say you guys. You mean Michelle.
I'm trying to be...
I know, you're trying to be generous, but let's be honest. She actually is a very good poker player. She took to it like a duck to water.
You're on your way up, Kara.
I'm working on it.
And we're going to see your skills...
tonight.
In action.
I'm not going to say which game I'm going to be playing, but, you know, I'll be there in the next hour, playing away at the Beat the Presenter slot. So if you do want to watch people try to beat me, tune in to the third hour of our show tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
And, oh, look, there's a graphic.
Oh, wow, look at that. How fancy.
It's kind of the details, kind of the flesh on the bare bones there.
It is, really. It's basically what we just said. There you go. Pitting their wits.
Show and tell on Poker Night Live.
That's right.
We do have lots of text and emails tonight, though, don't we? I reckon.
Oh yeah, lots and lots and lots. So if you've got questions about anything really poker related,
doesn't matter how basic it is, because we do aim the show at beginners tonight, and I've always thought when we do this show that people are inhibited because they think,
I think
it's
so.
a basic question and they'll have answered it before. Don't worry about that, guys. If there's something that's puzzling you or something you're not understanding or you've just started, fire in the questions. That is why we're here.
That is exactly why we're here. So make sure you take advantage of the expert.
Yes,
Right.
do.
He
I'll
likes
probably
that.
enjoy it.
You probably would as well.
Yeah.
And first up, we're going to go see the multi-table tournament so we can take you through the ins and outs of Texas Hold'em in multi-table tournaments.
That was brilliant.
Thank you.
This is our Taste of Paradise, our bounty tournament. Thank you. I'm here all night. There's nothing you can do now, short of a forced physical eviction.
Now, this is a rebuy tournament as well. It's a $5 rebuy for the first hour. There were 24 people in the very beginning.
So is this the end of it?
Yes, this is the end. This is
Oh,
the
right,
final
okay.
table.
Oh, right, wow.
Final table.
It's like coming in...
Not final table, pardon me. There are 10 left here. So they're split between the two tables.
Quite
yeah.
near the business end.
Yeah, I would say so.
I was going to say it's like the bit where Darth Vader tells him he's his father, but it's actually
Not
20
quite there
minutes
yet.
before that.
Yeah. We haven't quite hit the, the peak of the game here.
I don't actually know what happens 20 minutes before that. I'm not that big of a fan.
I know, I was racking my brain there, but I...
Michelle would know.
Really?
She's a sci-fi... Well, I always call her a geek, and she won't have it.
Really?
But she is.
No, she's not.
She,
Have you
she
seen
likes,
her?
She likes some of the TV spin-off ones. You know,
Oh,
like
right.
Star Trek Deep
Space Nine?
Nonsense 11 or whatever
I
it's
like
called.
that.
So do I.
Yeah.
Always liked it.
No.
And,
Well, we've got to...
and I like you, and I like Michelle.
So you're going to stop talking about it now, aren't
Yeah.
you? There you go. Well done.
I'll tell you what it is, Kara.
Yes.
Everyone's got a lot of chips here. Just checking it out.
Well, they would do, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, but you could have more variety than this.
I suppose, yeah. There could be a
And,
few shorter stacks.
Just taking it in, there's actually plenty of play. There's no reason for anybody to panic.
Very true. Now, there were bounties on 3 of the different players. So keep that in mind. It was Michelle on that table there. Now we're going to take you to the other table and see what's going on with the other players.
Do they have, and I'm guessing the answer is no. See what I was saying? Look, there's much more variety in the chip sizes here. You see, that's what I was getting at.
I see.
You grew up in Canada.
Yes, I did.
Did they have bounty bars?
Yes.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did you, when you ate one, did you ever eat all the chocolate off?
No, because then it's disappointing just having the coconut
No.
by itself.
No, but I never used to eat the coconut.
Oh, what a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste. You could feed a family of 5, like, for days on that.
Yeah, I did.
The sugar content of those things.
Kept them in my cupboard.
And they're still there to this day.
2 portions of desiccated coconut per week.
Nice.
And for that, they cleaned my back bedroom.
Excellent.
Quid pro quo.
You were posh growing up, weren't you?
I still am.
Really?
Yeah. And basically, we have something in this country, Kara, called the landed gentry. Basically one of those.
Really?
Yeah, without the land.
So you're just gentry. Doesn't really have the same ring, does it?
No.
No. And there you go.
So let's get into the guts of the show.
Ooh, the guts of poker. Because you were saying, right
Yeah.
before we started, that you've got a renewed enthusiasm for poker as a game. You've never really lost your love of
It's
the
like,
game.
well,
but
it's like a marriage, isn't it? Not that I've ever been in a marriage or seen a happy one. Broken home, long story, wrong show. But it is like a marriage because you always love the other person.
Yes.
But you go through periods where, they're always there.
And you love them less.
Yeah, no, your love's not affected, but your sort of active expression of that love is, maybe.
Okay.
Or your active day-to-day enjoyment is. And it's the same with poker. I've always played poker. It will always be there. It always has been there for 8 years or something. But sometimes you are diffident to it, and sometimes you have periods of great passion and love for it. And I'm happy to say, in a period of great passion and love for the game.
Well, that's good. What sort of renewed your passion and love for the game?
I don't know, really.
That's a really interesting answer.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint it, but I can tell you about it. That will be more interesting.
At great length, I'm sure.
I just think that it's like anything. You go through, when you experience anything or learn anything, you go through periods of learning and then plateaus, don't you?
Yeah.
So you learn a lot of new information and then you think that's all there is to know and then you learn a lot more. And it's just an appreciation, I think probably from doing this show and through a sort of second spell of really thinking about the game, that you understand that poker, and I know this is beginner's show, so you're just at the beginning of this journey, which is very exciting, isn't it? How infinitely interesting poker actually is. You can never get to the bottom of it. And there's very few things in life where that's true, in fact. Most hobbies or pursuits or interests, after doing them for a while, you'll have a pretty good understanding of what they are, what their limitations are, and what you can achieve within them. But because poker is so changing, and the reason it's always infinitely interesting is because it's played against other human beings. You will always, I mean, I played a game on Friday, I'll probably tell you the situation later on, but I came up against an opponent which I hadn't encountered the style of opponent for a long time. I hadn't encountered this specific person ever. So I had to figure out how to beat him, and that happens every time you sit down at a poker table if you're a thinking player. So if you are new to the game, I can't recommend it to you enough because it will never disappoint you in terms of being interesting and being challenging. And there are very few things that are true of that.
That's true.
And we are nothing if not at our best as human beings when challenged and interested, I feel.
That's a very interesting point, Nick.
That's as interesting as I'll get. Don't feel you have to sit here till 2 o'clock for something better. That's
as good as it gets.
from me. Email in and ask what the button is, or something like that. I can cover that, but that's the...
Okay.
All right?
Or if you'd like to have your say in this bit as well, you can always let us know.
Please do.
Yeah, have you actually lost that sort of excitement for the game? What brought it back for you? What was it that reignited that passion in your life for poker as a game?
Or if you're in a period of intense love, I'd like to hear from you because I'll have a synergy with you.
Ah, bless. Text poker in your question to 84222, or you can send us an email as well, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, and we would love to hear from you tonight.
I'll give you one quick thing. For those of you who are, probably not for complete beginners, but for those of you that are just getting into the game, anything from there up to sort of have been playing for years, if you haven't already, go to Card Player Magazine's online site and read Daniel Negreanu's columns, which I used to read years ago. I think he's possibly one of the most interesting people talking about poker at the moment. For those of you that don't know, I don't know how old he is, he's in his 30s.
Yeah, he's quite young.
He's young. And he's
Canadian.
Canadian. He should be a national hero because, well, he's kind of...
Just saying.
It's good, you have to blow Canada's
Big up
trumpet.
the heroes.
And he should be a hero of Canada because he's one of the top 3 or 4 tournament players in the world at the moment. And he has a very different attitude to poker to a lot of the books that you can read and buy and that I and others recommend.
Right.
But he has a very different take on it. It's a much more kind of visceral and intuitive, but intuitive backed up by maths. And he just has such an enthusiasm for the game. And I was actually reading his columns last week, and I would recommend it if you have an interest in the game. Not only will you learn a lot, not only will you get an insight into how a really top-flight player works, but it will also challenge you about your game because he plays a very different style to most people. And again, it's beginner's night. We'll talk about what a winning style is. But he has his own take and his own style. So if you want to take your game to the next level, I'd point you in the direction of those columns.
Well, there you go. That's a good tip already in the first 10 minutes.
I'm burning myself out.
I know.
Yeah.
Take a break now.
Okay.
We're going to go to a cash game
you, Cara.
while Nick replenishes his poker energy.
Yes, my stock.
Right, here we go. 50-cent $1 cash game.
Bit of a cash game. Better do some...
Oh, it's not.
Oh, no, it's a tournament.
It's definitely a tournament. I think we may be going through the matrix, though. Now,
somebody's put a thing in the wrong hole.
Yeah.
And you know how damaging that can be.
I've heard. We'll come back and have a look at that one later. That was our $10 sit and go, but we will come back later and take a look at it. Now we've got our 50-cent $1 cash game with some of our regulars on there as well. It's always nice to see the regulars, and it's always nice to hear from the regulars as well on the text and the email. And if I could just say a bit of a hello as well to one of our regular viewers in Ipswich, I'd like to say hi to Clive in Ipswich, because he watches fairly regularly and he's a devoted viewer for Poker Night Live.
Lovely.
Yeah. Right.
Hello, Clive.
Thank you. There we go. Hello, Clive. Right, now we've got some of our regulars, like I said. We've got our Loomis and Snap It and, oh, Robo Squirrel.
Cool.
Very cool.
Cool.
It gives a great mental image. Like a large robotic squirrel.
That's interesting, you see, because brains are different, aren't they? Because I saw a small, normal-sized squirrel, but robotic.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I was just at
You
Universal
made him-
Studios when I went to see
there
the
we go.
Terminator
Somehow,
thing. It's
we've
a
got-
Robo Squirrel.
16 minutes into the show and you managed to casually drop in that you recently visited Florida.
Yes, I did. If I look a little
Well-
more tan than usual.
All in context. TV's Kara Scott and her jet-setting life.
I worked it into, like you say, make it into context. So there you go.
Almost did.
Thank you. And I read a poker magazine on the flight on the way over and on the way back as well.
Was it the Good Poker magazine?
Yeah,
The
I
one
was
that I
reading
write
your
for?
column
Come
in it.
on!
I was as well. I was going to lean over to the person next to me and go, look, that's Nick Wealthall. I know
Poker
him.
Player.
I
Poker
work
Player
with him.
magazine. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I really enjoyed it.
It's a good mag, actually.
It's nice. They had a really interesting article about female poker players and how there are some sites and some sort of organizations that do tend to kind of dumb down the poker for the female audience, which obviously is not necessary.
Helps them to understand.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'm teasing.
I know, as much as you're teasing, still no.
No.
Okay. And, you know, the pink backgrounds of the websites and the prizes that include things like, I don't know, hair curlers and stuff. It's just
Right.
silly, really. But it was a
Right.
great article about that, how that doesn't need to happen and how that's becoming a thing of the past.
Well, yet another beautiful thing about poker is how egalitarian it is.
Yes, especially online poker.
Yeah, and I believe within a few years, live poker will be too. There is no barrier to playing poker. You can be, literally, there's a very famous man who has no use of his arms who plays live, plays
okay.
with his feet. But you can
Oh, yes,
literally,
of course.
yeah, you can literally, you know, be from any background, any race, culture, gender. You have age. You have the same chance of being a good poker player as anybody else.
Yeah, I like that about it.
It-
I mean,
it-
Robo Squirrel could be male, could be female,
Could
be
be a
squirrel.
small mammal. Yeah,
yes, could be a small furry mammal
it
with
is.
robotic arms.
There is no other game like it. I'm so sorry the viewers. I'm so sorry the viewers missed you doing the robots. Then
It was pretty
it
impressive.
was pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, dancing through electro pop, doing the robot, something 1984. It's
Yeah.
a lyric. I made it. I did it all wrong there.
No, it was good.
It was an Arctic Monkeys lyric, and I made it all wrong.
I definitely knew it was an Arctic Monkeys lyric,
You
although I didn't say at the
didn't.
time. I definitely knew
Yeah.
that because I am very in touch with popular culture.
I can tell.
You know those men that pretend to be robots in Covent Garden, things like that.
Yes.
I'm not predisposed to violence, but if you ever did want to kick a man in the face
Oh.
while he was on the ground from previous kicks, it's those men, isn't it? What are you doing? You just want to sit them down and have a chat, don't you?
When they're not allowed to talk.
Seriously.
Well, if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, especially our European viewers or some of our global viewers on the web, then in Covent Garden in London, you do get a lot of buskers doing the whole painting themselves silver and just standing there like a robot,
Yeah,
completely still.
yeah.
Don't get it.
Our producer's pointing out there's a full house versus 3 sevens. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. Look at that, Monty committing money and oh, that was very strange. TMDVD just called when he had. He could have won. He could have won all of Monty's money there. That was a very strange decision. There we can see TMDVD holds a full house, 3 jacks and 2 sevens. Monty holds 3 sevens. TMDVD's raised with his full house. Monty re-raised, which that still doesn't show, to about $20, something like that, $26. And TMDVD just called. The only thing that can beat TMDVD is 4 sevens, which he can't possibly be scared of. I think I know what's happened actually there, because it's a mistake I made twice in my early days when I was playing America.
Computer button mistake. Most
No,
mistake.
I think what's happened is he's got 3 jacks, and he's playing 3 jacks. In his head, he's going 3 jacks, 3 jacks, 3 jacks, and he's. What I was going to say is, I think he's seen the flush, and he's just got scared of the flush, and he hasn't realised that he's actually got a full house because he's so worried about being outdrawn.
I see. So he's not really looked at it carefully enough, you think?
That's the only way I can understand why he wouldn't get all of Monty's money there.
Well, Monty doesn't want to keep on going there, so
No.
he's dipped out.
First big confrontation night. Well, this is beginner's night.
Yes,
If you
it
are
is.
a beginner and you've got through the first 20 minutes of, let's face it, guff. No, there wasn't. There was some beautiful poker chat.
It was.
Yeah. Just.
I was here. I enjoyed it.
Just, I don't know how much learning there was.
We're easing into it.
We're easing into it. So what do we want to do, Cara?
What do we want to do?
Do we want to do the absolute basics, or do we want to assume a little bit of poker knowledge, or?
Let's see. I think absolute basics I could run through probably fairly quickly.
Great. I'm going to browse the web.
Alrighty then. Right, what you're looking at here is a cash game. This differs from a tournament in that the blinds stay where they are, which is 50 cents and $1. It also is different from a tournament in that your stack, or the money that you have in front of you, is actually representative of the real amount of money that you've got in front of you. So it's not chips, it's really money. And you can go out and you can recharge your stack if you bust out, unlike a tournament, unless, of course, it's a rebuy tournament. But other than that, the rules are pretty much the same. So you've got the same hand rankings, and this is Texas Hold'em, so it's the best 5-card hand that wins. Now that can be a combination of your 2 cards and any 3 off the board, or in fact, it can be basically all of the ones off the board if that is indeed the best hand. How am I doing so far there, Nick? You weren't listening, were you?
Fantastic.
I might have just been completely wrong.
No,
And you didn't even pay
You're doing
attention.
brilliant. Smooth as
Thank
silk.
you.
Why you
Thanks
don't
very
even, you know that. You don't need me to.
No, I just, you
Well,
were.
you just wanted to hear
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I just wanted you to stop browsing the web and, you know,
Yeah.
and pay attention.
Fair point.
So that's the absolute basics.
Yeah.
Now on to the middling sort of thing, as you were saying.
What would you cover next? I don't mind doing it, but what do you want me to do?
Oh, goodness.
Did you do blinds and buttons and things?
I didn't know,
No,
actually.
that's probably next.
Okay.
The structure of the game.
Let's do the structure of the game.
So Loomis currently has the dealer button, which is the D white disc next to his name, and that will move around 1 space every hand. The 2 players to the immediate left of that dealer button have to pay the forced bets, also known as blinds. In this game, they are 50 cent and $1. You can see them there in front of TMDVD and Snap It. So everybody pays those in turn. It's all very fair. And they are essential to any game of poker because without them, there's no reason to wager any chips. They are what gets the action going. So initially, you're trying to win that $1.50. And in a cash game, those blinds, and you see they're indicated at the top of the screen, will stay the same for eternity, for as long as the game keeps going.
And the viewers at home will notice that I'd already covered that, and that this sort of proves that Nick was not paying attention
I wasn't paying
when I was
attention at
talking.
all.
Okay, right,
Well,
so
hold on
just
a
pointing
second.
it out.
Right, hold on a second. When I said, what shall I do next? Shall I do blinds and buttons? You said, yes, do blinds and buttons.
Yeah. No, you said buttons and structure of the game. Anyways, go on, they don't want to listen to us bickering.
So anyway, the white dealer button in front of TMDVD moves 1 space to the left, and the 2 players to the left post blind bet. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm being immature. There are 4 betting rounds in Hold'em. Do you do this?
Nope.
All right, here we go. There are 4 betting rounds in Hold'em, and at the end of each round, the betting must be equalised. That's the principle, right? So, for example, Loomis has put in $2. That means everybody still to act must either put in $2 or throw their hands away. And on that occasion, everybody threw their hands away, so Loomis won. Now, here's the interesting bit.
Ah, yes.
In poker, Loomis wins whatever his hand is. So whatever his score is, if you want to look at it another way, he still wins. If you make a bet nobody else equals, you win.
Even if you have rubbish cards.
Correct. And that is, as far as I know, in the entire world of games, unique to poker. You can win without the best score, essentially. So absolutely unique to poker and fundamental to how the game's played, as we'll see throughout the evening. Betting must equalise each round. The first round is based on the first 2 cards. Then 3 cards come down in the middle, the flop, and you did this bit, didn't you? We end up with 5 cards in the middle, from which you choose. So you've got 7 cards, your 2, 5 in the middle. You choose your best hand. So as we can see in this example, DJ DY Boy, it's his decision first. Action always starts on the dealer button and is clockwise. He decides to check. Robo Squirrel also checked, and what checking means is not putting any money in but not throwing your cards away. You can only do it when there hasn't been a bet, and if everybody still left in the hand does it, we move on to the next round. So the betting's been equalised, it's just the betting is 0. They've, excuse me, windy pops. They've done it again on the turn, and so the last card has come down, and it's the last chance for them to both check. Let's see if they take it. They can bet, and this is no limit hold'em. The clue's in the question, gang. However much you want to bet at any time you can. If DGDEYG, too many consonants, boy, wanted to put in all of his $39, then he could have done. All of it. He chose not to. And the exciting thing about poker, and this is probably the 8th reason I've given you to play poker in the first half an hour, but the other exciting thing about poker is you have complete freedom of action, especially if you're playing no-limit poker. You can, you know in netball, how you can only go in certain areas of the pitch?
No.
Weirdest game in all of games, in my opinion. You don't have any freedom of action. You can literally only go in certain areas of the pitch. In poker, you've got complete freedom of action. So, which I think is always thought has been a really exciting thing about the game. You can bet any amount at any time, you can throw your hand away, you can equal someone else's bet, whatever you want, and it's up to you. So it's a game of decisions, which for some people, especially when they start, is scary.
Very.
But actually should be exciting, because it makes it an exciting game to play. You always have the choice, which is why the paradox about poker is most poker players will blame absolutely anything for when they lose than themselves. In fact, if you spend any time with poker players, I don't recommend on the whole, hygiene problems, a lot of them, be fair, which I don't recommend, but they will blame everything for their misfortune. They'll blame bad luck, they'll blame the dealer, they'll blame their girlfriend for the row they had before they left the house, they'll blame whatever. You will very rarely hear poker players say it was my fault. But the reality is they should do in more games than any other because they always have decisions.
Right.
Always. It's always your decision whether you play a hand or don't play a hand.
But, and this is true, but playing sort of devil's advocate here, the last time I did a Beat the Presenter slot, when we then looked at the tournament afterwards, I marked down every single starting hand I got because I wanted to show, I believe I was on with James Browning, I wanted to show to him how rubbish all my starting hands were, and I had out of I think 22 starting hands before I got anything that was either a pair besides threes, or even large cards like anything better than 10 Jack.
Okay.
In the beginning of a tournament.
So what point are you making?
Well, the decisions that I made. Okay, fine. Yes, I made the decisions to throw these cards away. Once I tried to bluff, it didn't work, so I threw it away. And like you say, you always have decisions, but eventually the blinds caught up with me, and that was it.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It's perfectly possible in this world of making decisions that we make all of the right decisions, but we still lose.
Okay.
Okay? That's the problem.
Okay. Yeah, that is very true. That's just the point I
But
wanted
then
to
that's
make.
true in a lot of things. That's true in a lot of other games, and that's true in lots of other areas of life.
Because there's other things that come into play.
Other things come into play, like the cards and et cetera, et cetera. The point about poker, and we say this over and over because it's the key point, and it is a truism. It is 100% true. It's not a blithe thing people say. It's 100% true that if you make good decisions, victory, money, success, that special feeling will come to you. And you don't have to do anything else. People kind of look for where are they going wrong or what, the mysteries of the game, and if I have a lucky chaffinch next to my chips, will I win more? There is only one thing you need to do, and that is make good decisions. If you make good decisions, you'll win at poker.
In the long run. In
the long run. Actually, we always say the long run because then when somebody kind of emails in and says, I've lost 82 tournaments in a row, etc., etc. But actually, it's actually the medium run, really.
Okay.
It won't actually take you that long.
Really?
Unless you're playing against good players.
Okay.
You're still waiting?
Yeah, I'm still waiting.
You're just a poker baby, yeah. You do have Eye of the Tiger. We'll see it at 11 o'clock, won't we?
That's true. But someone who does have the Eye of the Chaffinch, or the Eye of the Tiger, even more likely, is Michelle, our very own Poker Night Live's Michelle, or Night Nurse. And let's go take a look at her tournament, because I do believe we're down to the final 9. Is that correct? Down to the final 9.
That will be a
final 7, in fact.
Trick.
And there we go. So you can see good old Hoofy in seat 3. And considering that this is a multi-table tournament, so he would have been moved around into various seats by the computer, he still moved into the 3rd seat. How did that happen? For people who haven't seen this before, this player, Hoofy, always gets this seat. I don't know how that happens, especially when it should be random in a multi-table tournament.
Like a cosmic connection with it.
Oh, you might do. And Michelle is still in there. You can see she's got the dealer button right now, an ace-jack.
Poker zone _M.
Mm-hmm.
Also known as...
Michelle? Yep.
Mish to her friends. I know you're not that close.
You lie.
So yeah, in this mini tournament, the blinds are 300 and 600. Now, for those newer players, the cash game we're watching, as I said, the blinds will never change. This is a tournament, and it's a knockout event. So basically, we play last man standing. And at the end of the tournament, one player will have all of the chips in play. When you run out of chips in front of you, so the numbers underneath the players' names are not cash anymore, they're play chips. And when you run out of them, you're out of the tournament. And then it's last man standing. And the other key difference is the blinds escalate. As we see Jay's knockout SJ's poker team 7. He's going to have to go and get a new team. The blinds escalate. They've just done that. They've just gone from 300, 600 to 400, 800. And they will keep doing that forever. And that forces the action. As we said before, the blinds force people to bet. In a tournament, they really force people to bet because they get so big that they're actually a threat to people's stacks. They actually... So you can't sit there and let other people knock themselves out. You actually have to get in there and play, otherwise the blinds will eat up your chips. So this is a factor of tournament play, and it's different from what we were just watching, which was cash play.
Well put.
So where... You weren't even listening. So where do you think Michelle will finish?
I don't know.
She's in the top 6, which is a good performance.
She is short stacked at the moment. I think she's going to make it into the money. She's a very good player.
Where is the money? Do you know?
I don't, actually. That's a good point, because in multi-table tournaments, it's different from single-table tournaments. In single-table tournaments, the top 3 places are paid. In multi-table, it tends to be more than that.
More than that, yeah. And there were 24 players. I'd imagine that the top 4, something like that, will be paid.
Oh, good.
That's
I want to see her get into the money.
That's a guess. We'll try and get the information.
There you go, and she's just won that hand. Well done, Michelle. Now, I do wonder if it changes the way people play against her, because they have watched her on the show. Maybe they've watched her and beat the presenter. And, you know, they may have listened to all of her commentary, or speaking about the game, what her own strategies are.
Yeah, I think that the fact they get $50 if they knock her out might be an even bigger factor.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know if it helps or hurts, though, actually, because if you adjust your play, if Michelle adjusts her play and basically doesn't bluff, it should help her, because people should be more willing to play with her because she's got a bounty on her head, so they should call her more. So she should get paid for her good hands.
Okay.
So it actually could help her. Where it doesn't help is if you get short stacked, you can't really bluff, because someone will call you because they can get $50.
And it'd be worth it. It's the equity reward.
Totally worth it. I mean, that's, you know, that's a meal deal.
And a half.
It is, and a DVD rental.
That's a good night in, that is.
For some people. Depends on the DVD.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually quite interested to see how she plays. I don't think I've ever seen Michelle play, except for a live game once, where I was watching, I believe you were at a different table, and we were all doing a bit of live poker.
Yes. Well, she's taken the blinds there, which is always nice.
You think that was a good move?
I do now, it worked.
Well, yeah, now that it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6-handed, there's 6 players left, and you can't sit still, you do need to She hasn't got so many chips that she can just sit there, and so you do need to play your half-decent hands, which she had. And it looks like we've got to a stage of the tournament where double the big blind. If you notice, Michelle raised it to 1,600, which is double the big blind. Normally in No Limit Hold'em, we would recommend a standard raise being 3 times the big blind. But the purpose of an opening raise is to, well, often the purpose in a tournament is to take the blinds. So if you can do that with just a minimal raise, why wouldn't you? Because you put less of your chips in jeopardy.
True.
Are we getting lots of emails?
We are getting lots of emails.
Cool. Do email in with anything you like, guys.
Anything at all.
Literally. Let's throw it open. Let's do art and literature as well as poker.
Excellent idea.
Not if I'm here. I know absolutely nothing. So Jays has built up the big chip stack, and Willow as well in second chip position. We just saw Willow steal the blinds with 7-2 offsuit, the worst starting hand in poker. If you can steal the blinds with it, doesn't matter what you got.
True, but it's a risky move.
It's a risky move, but he's got so many chips that it becomes actually quite low risk.
Okay.
And that's one of the things about playing in a tournament that beginning players take a while to learn, which is that the size of your chip stack is as important as the cards you have in terms of what you can do and how you should play your hand.
And how people will react to you as well.
Very good point.
Thank you.
Very true.
See, I have been paying attention.
I know you've been paying attention. I know all this. I'm not a good player. Malarkey is just the soft,
it's a ruse.
It's the soft soap before you sit down with our viewers in 20 minutes' time.
Oh, it's all a ruse. I can't wait. It's my favourite bit of the week.
Is it?
Actually, it is. It's one of my very favourite bits of the whole
Cool.
week, sitting down to play the Beat the Presenter slot, because it's just so much fun.
Good.
And this time I actually get to play under my own username, because finally all the money
I forgot about this.
that was used up.
I've been very sanguine about this. I even bought you a donut.
I know.
Didn't you spend my money?
Last week. I
Is
did
that
say I
not
was
true?
sorry. Yeah.
Well, you could have won. I don't mind, but you could have won.
Well, I know I should have won, but I did let you know. I did send you an email, and I did say I was sorry.
Which is more than many of the presenters have done, to be fair. There has been so much raiding of other people's accounts. Disgraceful.
I know, it is a bit, isn't it?
Cheap.
Someone raided my account.
Tom.
Took all the money out.
Name me no names, Tom.
Yes, but I have a great deal of respect for
do you know
Dr.
where
Tom,
do you know
so...
why? Do you know where? Have you met him? Do you know where?
No.
Do you know where he is?
Where?
Reno.
Really?
With your money.
Wow.
He
Yeah,
took-
all $38 of
He
it.
took your $38 and he's fled to the States.
Wow, you know where I was last week? Maybe somewhere as warm as
Do you know
Reno.
where I was last week?
Where?
Britain.
I was in Florida.
Where I've been all winter because I'm, not as flash as you.
That's probably why I have a better tan than you.
Look at our presenter
Look at
making the
this.
big move.
All in with 8-8.
Now, that is a good example, I think, of what I was talking about, which is
Wow.
that she's made the move with 8-8. She doesn't really want to call. It's not the worst move in the world because it's 8-8. She's been called by Willow. Now, I wonder, I know Willow's got a lot of chips, but I don't think he'd make that call unless she had the bounty.
Really?
And actually, it's a really good call for Michelle because 8-8 versus 7-6, she's a big favourite. She's maybe, I don't know, 5-6 to 1 favourite. So it's something she wants him to call.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would do it unless there was that extra incentive. So I think that's actually worked for her there.
That's great timing. When
Brilliant
she was
timing.
short-stacked and then got the good cards that she needed. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I do want to see her make the money.
Well, she's doing great. She's in 3rd place.
That's absolutely fantastic. I have every faith in her. I just wish she'd teach me a few things.
I think we'd all like to see that. Jack 10 for Hoofy. Raises on the button and steals the blinds. Well done, Hoofy. Actually, some quite good quality poker going on here. A lot of stealing of the blinds, a lot of representing of hands. Quite aggressive play.
Which is good to see. Makes it more interesting as a viewer, I find.
It does, totally.
See, I think it's a good idea if you're watching this from home as a beginner, because it is beginner's night, pay attention to what people are doing and whether it's winning them the hands or not. I know that sounds very obvious, but sometimes you can sort of get caught up in watching the entire game, whereas maybe watching one player, like Michelle, could actually be of more benefit because you see what one person's doing and how they're reacting to the different cards that they've got. It could teach you quite a lot.
You're absolutely right. It's a brilliant point. And speaking of learning, here's a situation where she definitely shouldn't play.
Right.
And there are lots of reasons why she shouldn't,
Oof,
and that's a good pass. One of the biggest reasons is that the person that's made the raise has got more chips than her.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is a critical factor when you get down to a final of a tournament and you're down to the last 5 or 6 players. Unless you've really got the goods, you do not want to mess with people that can knock you out of the tournament.
Okay.
Because surviving is all important, because every time someone gets knocked out, your prize money moves up.
Mm-hmm.
So surviving becomes more important than it has been earlier in the tournament. And there was a situation where if Michelle was 4 months ago and had 4 months less knowledge, she might well have played. She's got a pair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she might think that's a decent hand. But it's a low pair, which is going to play very badly after the flop because lots of bigger cards are going to come on the flop.
Mm-hmm.
She's out of position, which is a very important factor. She would be out of position for the rest of the hand. She's got no way of knowing what her opponent's got, and critically, her opponent can bust her. As we see a split pot, Job survives. Bit of a trial for him, though.
Oh, God. Oh, stitches.
Seriously. So that was a very good example of what you're talking about, which is if guys at home are watching, sure, you can watch for entertainment, sure, you can get swept along by the charismatic,
the sheer magic,
good-looking hosts, but also you can learn so much.
Yes, yes.
No, you can.
Nick's not just here for eye candy, people. He has a Wealthall of knowledge behind him.
Thank you.
Nick Wealthall.
Thank you for that. And Willow has just been playing too many hands, and you've seen the danger that his chips have gone from 25,000 to 12,000 in a few minutes. But seriously, I've said about this show and have no qualms about saying it, in that you can learn to improve your poker so quickly from the show. And if you listen to the experts and you listen to their response to emails, you can learn a lot. But even if you didn't, even if all you did was watch the action, you can learn a huge amount. Because I know it's now normal to see this, but before this show, there was no poker show. Even those shows like Late Night Poker and others where you see the whole cam, there was no show before this where you saw all of the cards all of the time, so you could see exactly how people played all the time. It would be more selective, and also the other shows on TV show highlights, so you don't get a true picture of how to play a game of poker.
Yeah, it does change. It
does change, and what we're able to give you is basically the works. You get to see everything. So if you want to learn, whether you're a beginner or you've been playing for years and you just want to improve, it is such a great tool for that.
I really think so. I think it's improving my game, although we'll see how much in the next hour.
You know how invested I am in this show, and that all of my fee goes to charity because of that.
Oh, of course. You're such a saint. Saint Nick.
May not be wholly true.
Or even a little bit true.
The call I made on Friday night meant that some of it went to charity. in a slightly, I suspect, not a good cause either. Oh. Big hand here for Michelle. She's got the pair of queens, but she's up against ace-king, and she's going to have to play for all of her chips.
Oh, boy.
Because I don't think Penny's... No, she's not. Sorry, she's got him covered. And she's been unlucky there.
Oh. That is unlucky.
That's a turning point hand for her, I think, because that would have given her 20,000 chips.
Ouch. And a pair of queens at this stage in a final, that's a great hand. There's nothing, I mean...
It played itself. Both of them were going to play there.
Yeah.
And she was a favourite. She's, 53%. She's got about 5.5%, 6% edge there. Sadly didn't work out for her.
Well, while we are watching Michelle's multi-table tournament, let's take a look at one of our emails, because people have been heeding our call to email in with their poker questions.
Good.
And we do have some, and I like it when people actually email in with these questions, because they're not simple in that they're, easy questions, but they're simple in that they don't take about a page and a half of writing with a variety of cards and hands, and, and those are great emails too, but let's just
Our viewers are not simple.
No, I didn't mean that.
No,
I like this email. It's from Andy, and it's nice and short and to the point. And he says, "Hi, Cara and Nick. I've heard the comment that someone was smooth called. Please, can you tell me what this means, and when is this tactic useful? Keep up the great work." And I like this because when it's beginner's night or amateur night, sometimes we do use a lot of terminology that, you know, people in general aren't going to know. Oh, my goodness. Take a look at the screen.
Well, she's hit her ace.
Phew.
A queen would have lost to the pot, but she's won it. Well done, Michelle.
Oh, well done, Michelle.
Still alive. Smooth called. It's one of these expressions that literally is just an expression. It just means called. It just means, and called, for those of you that are very new to the game, just means to equal somebody else's bet.
So if I bet 2,000, instead of raising me or folding, you would just say, okay, here's my 2,000, I'm in this hand as well.
Yeah, and they would say, I called.
Yeah, I call.
And I would equal the bet, put in 2,000. Smooth called just means...
doing it smoothly? Doing it with a pair of sunglasses on?
A light jazz soundtrack. Or lounge music. Something by Andy Williams. No, yeah, it's just a call. When is this tactic useful? Well, crikey, I was just trying to think of a quick way to say that. It's not so much a tactic, it's one of your options when the betting gets to you. It's true to say that weak players call more than strong players. We've got kings for PokerZone's own Michelle. We'll just see what happens here. She's made the raise. Does Hoofy want to play? He does. He's all in. And Michelle's going to be playing for all her chips here, Cara.
Oh, go on, Michelle. Good luck.
That's a great flop for her.
Yeah,
only an ace.
Well done. Oh, she's doing so well.
She's doing awesome. And not only that, she's also knocked out Hoofy. That will give her an immense amount of satisfaction.
It really will.
It will make Hoofy mad.
Maybe he'll want to email in and send us his comments on it. Right, so we've got 4 ace king as our flop there. Michelle's got a queen and a 4, so she's got the bottom pair. Penny 4H doesn't actually have anything. So how are they going to play this?
Oh, Penny just throws away, and again, I think stack size.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. If Penny's sitting there 9,800 and Michelle's in the big blind with 4,000, Penny might well raise there thinking, you know, she won't want to play for her whole tournament with 2 random cards. He looks over, he sees 20-odd thousand, it's intimidating. And she's just a chip-eating machine at the moment.
Yeah.
So, sorry, smooth called, just to finish that answer, Andy asked when is it useful tactic. It's not so much a tactic, it's an option, which is to equal somebody else's bet. As I said, weak players do it more than strong players. The reason for that is what I said near the top of the show, which is the unique way to win in poker. You can have the best cards, or you can make a bet nobody else calls. Now, to take advantage of those 2 ways to win, a strong player will often be the aggressor. So will often be betting and raising and re-raising. And the reason for that is every time you take the lead, as we see Job flop a flush, it's going to knock out Hoofy and may get some chips off Penny, who knows. Anytime you take the lead, you're asking the question of the other guy, because he then has to decide whether to match that bet or throw his cards away. So, and Job does knock out 2 players in one hand. Very good stuff.
Wow, down to the final 4.
Well done,
So I'm guessing
Michelle.
that definitely means Michelle is in the money.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Well played, Michelle.
No kidding. Well, we're going to have to leave that, but we will come back to that one, because that is going to be quite exciting to see how that one pans out.
So I just finished
Michelle.
Smooth Called in about 15 seconds.
Okay, hurry.
I can do it. Watch this. So you want to be the aggressor in poker because you want to give yourself the option to win without the best cards.
Okay.
Which is why a strong player will either fold or raise or bet rather than call. Although there are times when you call. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
Right, I'll keep that in mind for my own play. I'll be playing after the break, and there's lots more poker after the break as well. So make sure you stay tuned here at Poker Night Live. We'll see you in a minute. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm Kara Scott, still, and with me is still Nick Wealthall. TV's Nick Wealthall, even. Nearly got your name wrong there.
We've got a whole bunch of poker fun, haven't we?
Ooh, we've got all the poker fun, and you're going to be doing sort of the lion's share of the talking, which I know is a shock to everyone out there.
Yes.
But he's going to manage, as I'm actually playing in a tournament.
Yes, Kara's online now. She's not in a game yet.
No, I'm still
waiting.
waiting.
If you want to watch her online while you watch the show, you can do that.
Yes, you can do.
Actually, you've still got a chance to play in the game.
It's true. I've not started yet. I'm hoping to get in. So if you do hear some frantic clicking, that's just me. I'm a bit nervous.
It's not good enough.
That might just be
Find
a
your centre.
Eye of the chaffinch.
Eye of the chaffinch. Show it to me. Show it to me. It's right there.
Thank you.
It's right there.
I'm so ready for this.
Yeah, come on.
No.
Bring it on.
Now, I'm not the only poker star on this show.
No.
I don't mean you.
No.
I mean Michelle. She's been playing in a tournament as well, a multi-table tournament. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's exciting.
Well, she's doing brilliantly.
She is doing really, really well. Should we take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Well, she just moved up to like second or third, I think.
I think she did do.
Right, let's have a look.
Okay.
There's 4 players left, I think. Let's have a look. Well, she's actually the chip leader. Jurassic Park. Now, you will hear some clicking. That's not me doing that thing Ben Affleck does on the advert with, you know, when the girls like him and he adds one on his clickometer. Although it would be that fast, definitely, if I was in a shopping precinct or something. Actually, what it is Kara just getting in to a game on the internet. So bear with the clicking sound as we watch Poker Zone's own Michelle Orp doing the magic. 31,000 in chips, and the blinds are 600, 1,200. So she can really sit back if she wants. Totally up to her. Depends how she wants to play these other players. But if she wanted to take her foot off the gas and let them knock each other out, as they're trying to do right here, Willow and Jays. Remembering that the top 3 in this tournament are going to be sharing the prize pool, and also that Michelle has got a $50 bounty on her head. Overpriced, particularly as they're smaller than they used to be when we were little. And Willow is the short stack. Well, if you're going to do that, Willow, you might as well put it all in, because if somebody re-raises you, you're going to have to call. That's the rationale. If you want to play there with those bad cards, go all in. And Michelle's made the point for me, really, because, well, if Willow had moved all in, I'm not sure Michelle had called with that Queen 7. So that's a learning point for all you guys that want to play in tournaments. If you're down to that few chips, if you're down to 5 big blinds or 5 or 6 big blinds, something like that, anything of that level or less, you really want to move all in. Rather than putting in a normal raise, because, oh, Willow, I thought he caught the king, but actually still unlucky. So Michelle is in the top 3. We lose Willow. We've got our money winners. Well played. It's very good clicking.
Thank you.
You seem able to move that finger at tremendous speed. And you're in.
I'm in.
Great Scott is playing live online right now, should you wish to watch that and the show concurrently. Eye the chaffinch, Kara. Not chatting in the chat box. That is not eye of the chaffinch, is it? That is casual.
Sorry.
No, don't. It's not me you have to apologise to. It's you and your mum. Hello to Kara's mum, by the way.
Yeah, she will be watching.
She will be watching. So do her proud. Don't, you know, win. Queen 9 for Michelle, and she calls. Well, it's a decent sized pot. And this, oh, on a big bet, And I don't think Michelle can call that. I know she's got the straight draw, but you don't want to be messing around with straight draws when there's a flush draw on board as well with that at this stage of the tournament. And Jays takes the big chip lead. And this will be a test of Michelle's poker ability. Easy to forget. I think she's only been playing for 4 or 5 months. And short-handed play is obviously much harder than a full table. And Jays is playing very aggressively. I actually like the way Jays has played this final table. Jays, do get in touch. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And that goes for everyone watching. As we say repeatedly, it's an interactive show. You will decide what we talk about. We'll go through plenty of your emails tonight. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Whatever you want to talk about is fine by me. And we'd like to hear from you if you're in this tournament with Michelle. We'd like to hear from Michelle. Of course. And again, although there are 2 shorter stacks, they're not really short of the blinds at 600 and 1200. They're actually doing very well. And don't have to rush anything if they don't want to. Again, Jay's taking the initiative. Strong play. I think he has shown himself to be the strongest player. At this final table. Certainly the most aggressive. Michelle gets the kings, but unfortunately for her, her opponent doesn't have anything. Always a bit frustrating at this stage of the game. Obviously a massive hand. Oh, and this looks terrible for Michelle. Kara, look at this. Very unlucky, Michelle. She's been caught in a truly horrible situation. 3-handed, incredibly unlucky to get a big pair and have a bigger pair behind you. Nothing much you can do about that. The one thing I would say is that Jays had built up the chips there and had enough to make Michelle go broke. And he built up the chips by being aggressive earlier on in the final table. So, unlucky to Michelle, but well played. Jays collects the bounty for knocking her out. Michelle, send us an email. Did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun? Are you satisfied with 3rd place? I know the viewers on our forums have expressed this, and I think we all feel the same way, that she's become a very competent player in double quick time. So, props to our own Michelle. Down to the heads-up final. Jay's taking on Job. Or Job. Whichever you prefer. He's caught himself a tricky little straight draw. Well, obviously things don't look great for Job, but what he has to remember is it can turn around incredibly quickly at heads up, no limit. And unfortunately, this one isn't going to turn around. Winner, winner for Jays. Well, I really like Jays' play from what I saw of it in the final table. I think if you're watching and you wanted to learn how to play the final stages of a no-limit tournament, you could do far worse than copy some of what Jays did. He was aggressive, but he wasn't manic. He practiced what we call controlled aggression, which is what gets the money in the short stages. Short stages? Late stages of a no-limit tournament when you are short-handed. Kara's playing poker.
That I am.
How are you enjoying yourself?
Very much,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Poker face.
Yeah, eye of the sacred bird. Quick email from Dave, which pertains to a hand a little bit ago, which I'm going to do now before we all forget the hand we were talking about. Dave is TMDVD, who's playing the cash game that we showed about half an hour ago now. Hi, Kara and Nick. Enjoying the show as usual. I trust you're well. Kara, you're looking just as gorgeous as you normally do. Interesting. Is it a compliment Because actually it's a statement of fact, isn't it? Because if you think about it, everyone is mostly looking as gorgeous as they normally do. I think it's a compliment. I'll pass it on. She's in the zone, she doesn't care. I am TV DVD and Street Maths on the forum, who was playing on the 50-cent $1 table and had the full house with the jacks. I had a good day today outside poker and made some money. I normally play $2.50 S&Gs and play for fun. I was hoping to enter the MTT tonight, but was too late. I hate it when that happens. While I was looking at the TV tables, I came across the game with all the regulars, Snap It, Loomis, Rob Squirrel. I've been playing for 6 months and frankly thought I was out of my depth. Playing against seasoned players like that, I thought it was only a matter of time before I lost my cash. With that hand, if you describe it as a problem, I would agree. I should have re-raised. The positives are I went in with $75 and carried $120, feeling I did okay, but Nick was right. Lee must have made the same comment in the chat box. Thanks for your input. It's plain to have a long way to go and we'll continue to regularly view. For those of you that either weren't with us or have forgotten the hand, as Dave says, he had a full house and his opponent re-raised him. The only hand that could have beaten him was 4 of a kind, and he should have... Basically, in a cash game, he shouldn't have been afraid to put all his money in there. You can't be scared of the absolute nuts all the time. And even in that situation, even in a tournament, most of the time you're going to get all your money in there. But you didn't say in the email whether I was right, whether you saw the flush and you hadn't registered you got a full house, or whether you just thought that he might have had the 4 of a kind, or exactly why you did it. But don't worry, we're all learning. And it's interesting, you say about feeling out of your depth in a game and whether to sit down in a game or not. Game selection is really, really important. And if you're going to make money or be a winning poker player, you could actually argue, and many writers do argue, that game selection is the most important thing. Because if you think about it, where does our money come from in poker? It comes from other people, obviously, and it comes from people who are worse at poker than we are. Just to follow it through, I know this sounds simple, but it's really important stuff, guys. If we believe, as I stated earlier, which is a truism, not an opinion, it's a truism, that if you make good decisions, poker will, money will come to you. So it's not about luck, it's about maximising your profits, minimising your losses, and making that gap as big as possible. If you believe that that's what poker's about in the long run, then the way that you do that is by playing poker against people you have an edge over. And the only way you can have an edge over them is by being better than them. You need to be better than you need to be better than them at maximising your profits, minimising your losses. I know I can't talk at the moment, that probably doesn't help your learning, but stick with it. So that's how you get an edge. So who you sit down with is critical to that. You can be a fantastic poker player, but if you sit down with 8 world beaters, you're still going to lose money. You can be the 10th best poker player in the world. If you play against the top 9, you're a money loser, and therefore a loser in poker. So Dave's right, he shouldn't regularly sit down with poker players that are better than him if he wants to make money. The caveat I'd add to you, Dave, and to all of our beginners is, from time to time, you should make the effort to play with people that you know are better than you. And it's the same in poker as in any other sport. The only time that you really improve is when you get a good beating, actually, is when you play with somebody who is that bit better than you. And you have to raise your game, but you can also see what they do. I guess a good way of doing this is doing it in a mixed game, so that you're in a game where there's some people who are better than you, some people who aren't, and learn from the ones who are better. So quick tip. Thanks for the email, Dave. Interesting stuff. Keep playing, keep watching, and we're glad you contribute on the forum. We'd like all of you to get in touch. We want to be snowed under with emails this Tuesday night. I know you're all here till, don't we? I know you're all here till 2 o'clock. Why would you go anywhere else? Text is 84222, 84222 on your tellies now. Text or email about anything, doesn't matter how basic your question, how long you've been watching, whether you're a regular or a newcomer. We know there are newcomers every night to this show, and you are welcome here. We're here to improve your poker game. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk is the email. And we'd like any of your questions, any of your queries, any of your compliments, especially Kara, she's a bit like that, don't you? You like that? Are you still in?
Whatever you said, I'm still in. Of course I'm still in.
And how's it? Look, see,
of course
it's all gone a bit more game-facey. Are they being nice to you in the chat box?
They are. They're being lovely to me.
Good. Bless you all. Kara's still playing, and just to recap, if you're new to the show, she's playing a game of poker now, and then we'll watch the game of poker and see all of the cards and analyse it, and hopefully it'll help us all learn a little bit more, become a little bit better at this game. Let's go to a live game in progress now. It's a cash game. being played for actual cash. These are real players playing for real cash, guys. That's all we bring you on Poker Night Live. And the sums underneath their names are the cash they have at their disposal. This is a 50-cent $1 game, and what that means is each of them can put up to $100 down on the table when they start out. So everybody over $100 is in profit, we know, for the buy. And they don't have to put into 100 down. You can put down as little as $10 if you want to get in the game. We have been watching a tournament, so just to clarify the differences, in a cash game, two key differences. The blinds stay the same, so the blinds will always be 50-cent $1 forever, which means that a different style of play tends to be successful in a cash game. Tends to be, not always. And the other key difference is that if you run out of chips, you can go and get some more. If you've got the money, and it's money you can comfortably afford to play with, you can go and get more. In a tournament, when you run out of chips, you're done. You're heading for the exit. Time to do something else, like play another tournament. Ghost Zapper with the Ace King. I love Ghostbusters. Sorry, lost in childhood bliss there for a minute. So the first time I saw it, I went to see it with Simon on his birthday. It was his 10th birthday. But Simon was a bit spoiled. He was like, you know, like at school, you always had one kid that was a little bit richer than everyone else, had all the new toys and stuff. He was a bit spoiled, and he'd already been to see it, even though he was going to see it for his birthday. That's how spoiled he was. And every time a good bit was coming up, he would tell me a good bit was coming up. Now, if you're roughly the same age as me, you'll know how big a film Ghostbusters was. So just imagine the first time you go and see it, that happens. Still, because he was the rich kid, I was friends with him. I didn't say anything. His parents were taking us out for dinner, weren't they? What was I going to do? Make a scene? Not much of anything on this flop for these three players, so a bet will probably take it. Even a little bet like that from Loomis. No, Eddie the Eagle's going to call. Do you remember Eddie the Eagle, the Northern mentalist? Was he Northern? I don't know why I said Northern. I mean, I'm Northern. I was actually born in Yorkshire. None of you care, I don't know why I'm filling in the blanks. Loomis has bluffed his way into trouble in this pot. And does he want to keep bluffing? He does want to keep bluffing. And Eddie the Eagle will find it hard to believe, but he actually had the best hand there with King High. He couldn't know that. Ghost Zapper raises with the eights. And is a winner. And we get a lot of questions as to how best to learn this game. So I think I'm going to prattle on about that for a bit. Obviously, we'll talk about the hands when a key one comes up. And this probably is quite an interesting one, isn't it? That's the universe telling me not to prattle on. Ace King versus Jacks, and Eddie the Eagle seems to like to play a lot of hands because he's playing Jack 9. Not something we'd normally recommend after a raise and a call. Benny the Pump's got the flop he wanted. He's made his pair of kings with Ace King. Well, with any two unconnected cards, actually. Unmatched cards. You're about near as damn it 2 to 1 to make a pair on the flop. So most of the time you won't. Queens for Crazy Gum here. So yeah, learning poker and how you should learn poker. Which actually have, when I can find it, an email about that very thing. Eddie the Eagle is playing every hand and really livening up this game. Sadly, none of the hands he's getting are helping him. He must have had some hands in the past because he's over that maximum buy of $100. He's going to be back under it soon if he doesn't slow down a little bit. Well, he's going to play ace-4. If he played 4-5, you'd have thought. Hoik balls to give him his full and, frankly, exciting title. Hoik has emailed in and says, keep working the poker magic, Nick. I will, I promise. He says, I thought I'd send you a quick email before you get to rip my plays to shreds. Honestly, mate, I criticised your hand once 3 shows ago. Let it go, all right? I still love you. It's not about that. He says, I'm quite good at Snap, you know. I don't believe that for a second. Quick question. As it's beginner's night, would a beginner player be better learning in a sit-and-go multi-table tournament or a cash game? Or maybe mix it up a bit with all 3? But any preference? Well, it's a good question, and it's one we do get asked, and I'm going to use it as a way into talking about how to learn poker, I think. There are, as you've already seen on the show, and of course you'll know if you know poker, there are 2 types of poker, basically, cash games and tournament games. There are various different types of tournaments and various different structures of cash, limit, no limit, pot limit, whatever. And I think, as a beginner, there's merit to learning both. I think I would play cash games first, and I don't think many people do nowadays, because tournaments are everywhere, and because they are exciting to play in, and you get to make bluffs and shuffle your chips in, and a beginner can win. Look at this hand, my goodness. 4 9s versus an ace-high flush. Well, all the money's going in here. This is a monster pot for this game. I don't know what Loomis is thinking about. He's probably too busy dancing around the room to call, to be fair. Well, Loomis, find a big mirror and tell yourself how great you are. He's just won a $219 pot in a 50-cent $1 game. That's a massive pot. And to be fair to Eddie the Eagle, difficult to get away from. He had the nut flush. He probably, if he was a good player may well have just called at the end because the board paired. And he's probably either losing heavily or winning heavily. So he could have just called at the end. As it is, he couldn't get away from it. And Loomis makes 4 9s, which we probably won't see again tonight. 4 of a kind, guys. Good stuff. As good as it gets, and a massive pot for this game. So yeah, learning poker, I would learn cash games first. And the reason I do that is that what cash game teach... I'm just going to wait for my brain to start working again. It goes through cold spells. What cash games teach you is good fundamental play. They teach you the strength of different hands, and they teach you to be patient, because it's very hard to bluff in cash games as much. And you will find, if you don't play a solid style, you will lose your money quite quickly. So it teaches you the value of hands. I sound like an old man talking about his kids, but I would recommend taking... Now, by cash games, these don't have to be for actual cash. You could play them for play chips while you learn, of course. I'm talking about the actual structure of it. So it's unchanging blinds, and you can reload. So I would start with cash, because I think it's easier to get the fundamentals right and then learn how to make moves and then loosen up. But the other thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't leave it too long. I think in my poker education, I probably left it too long to start learning how to bluff and loosen up, because I learned to play limit cash, and I learned such a fundamentally solid game that it took me a while to add a little bit of colour, a little bit of British spunk to my game. I was a bit too straight down the line. And I think that's what happens if you play just cash. So to learn poker, I would learn both. I would learn cash first. That's how I do it. In terms of what to do when you learn, the first thing to say is there's no substitute for experience. Now, the great thing about the internet, as I just alluded to, is you don't have to pay for that experience. When I was learning poker, when all of the experts on our show were learning, we all had to pay for our tuition, if you like. We had to go to the card room, and we had to put money down, and invariably we'd lose that money because we didn't really know what we were doing. But we were keen, and that's what counts in life. And so eventually we learnt, but you know, we learnt by getting hit over the head several times, getting hit in the wallet several times. Now, with the internet, you can play for free against real players. Now, I know the playing the free games is a little bit wild and crazy, but it's still poker, and it's still against other humans, and it is the cheapest and best way to learn. So I would recommend that you do that. And then I would recommend that if you're serious about playing well, because you can either play for fun or play well. If you want to play for fun, that's fine. You don't need to spend any time studying the game. If you want to play well, if you want to win money, which I've always thought is the better way to play poker, when you win money, throw yourself into it. There is now so much learning material out there. I would recommend this show, as I unashamedly have done, because I think it's such a great way to learn by seeing all the cards, really shortcuts your learning process. I would recommend getting hold of as many books as you can that are recommended by good players. There are some books which are not great. Anything by Slansky and Malmuth is great. Harrington and Hold'em for tournament play, great. Super System, great. There's a few others out there which are good. Learn that. Get yourself tapes of the old World Series. Get yourself tapes of the World Poker Tour. Immerse yourself in it and stand on the shoulders of giants. Other people have gone out there and worked out the maths of the game. They've worked out strategies that work. So go and get their learning and use it. And you might not like all of it. You might not use all of it. But do use what's out there. People have spent years shortcutting this process for you. Don't learn by trial and error alone. As we see Nick N make a good call. Go Sapper's bluff on the end isn't going to work. Well done to Nick N, and well done on your name, a class act. Do immerse yourself in the knowledge and do treat it as an experience, because this is a game at which if you've been playing a week or if you've been playing 10 years, you should always be learning and always challenging your game. And the last bit of advice I'd give to beginners and people that want to learn this game is be honest with yourself. Very, very few poker players, and I would say probably about 1 in 30, actually are honest with themselves about how well they play, about who plays better than them that they can learn from, and about when they've made mistakes. I've always tried to be. I'm sure there are times when I haven't been. Casper, who I learnt with, is the same. Kara is much more interested in eating donuts than learning. So we all have different takes on the game. But we've always tried to be honest with ourselves and admit when we make mistakes. I made a bad mistake in a cash game last week, actually, which I'll share with you some other time. When I didn't trust my intuition. That's one of the things that you should do in the game, is always trust your intuition. Big hand again for Lumas. He's made a straight. He's really catching some cards and building that stack. Good for him. But yeah, be honest with yourself. And again, as I always say, especially on beginner's night, you don't have to have the goal of being a professional player. You don't even have to want to play well. If you want to play for fun, that's fine. None of this applies. But if you want to play well and beat other people and take their money and have fun while doing it, take this on board and please keep records. And as I keep saying, keep a note of key hands. You don't have to keep a note of every hand. That's not really practically possible. You should keep a note of whether you win or lose money, how long you played for, and analyse your results, that kind of thing. But I think the most valuable thing you can do is keep a note of key hands you play in, how they turned out, and be honest with yourself, looking back at them as to whether you did the right thing and what you would change and do differently. Even better, if you can show them to a good player or a player that knows more about the game than you, that is gold dust, because you can get the benefit of their knowledge on your play. That's the ideal situation. Make friends with somebody that's good at poker, or even send them into the show. So that's my little 10 minutes on how I'd learn poker if I was starting out, if I was a beginning player, actually if I was an intermediate player. And many of these things I still do, and a lot of the good players still do. We should always be learning at poker. Guys, do keep the texts and the emails coming in. That is why we're here. We're here to make you better poker players. We're also here to have fun. So if you can send us something amusing about your poker play or about the show, we would like to hear from you. Couldn't be easier to do that. Text 84222, 84222, or if you'd like to email on this Tuesday night, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk is where we're at. And I promise we'll get through as many texts and emails as we can in the show tonight. Kara's currently playing in her game, and she's doing rather well without giving anything away. Well, I've given that away, without giving anything else away so far. It's a long road, isn't it, Kara? She's saying yes. And she's also mouthed that she loves me, which is nice. And we're going to replay that game at the top of the hour. And still coming up, I know we had the bounty tournament earlier. Still coming up, we've got the airport-sized Toblerone tournament. We haven't. We've got a regular multi-table tournament final table in the last hour. So well worth staying up for. Ace of flushes for Nick with the 4 diamonds on board. And do a couple of your emails while we watch this cash game and Kara plays her tournament. Kieran, I presume that's Kieran, C-I-A-R-A-N, has emailed in. Thank you, Kieran. He says, if you win a satellite to a major tournament and can't make it, can you sell your buy-in? You can't sell that bit of my face, which has just fallen off into the studio. It's all right. It wasn't a bit of my face. It's all intact. It was just a bit of very expensive equipment, which I will have to pay for. Kieran wants to know, if you win a satellite to major tournament, can you and can't make it, can you sell your buy-in? Just to explain for those that don't know, at bigger tournaments, actually online as well, and at live tournaments, there are what's called satellites. And very simply, they're smaller tournaments. And if you finish in the top places in that smaller tournament, you qualify for the big tournament. And for those of you with a historical mind, the way that these came about is that the World Series of Poker, the World Championship, which has a $10,000 entry fee, if you can imagine that, many years ago, 20 years ago, I think, something like that, players got together and decided that $10,000 is an awful lot of money to pay, but they'd quite like to play in the big event. And they started playing their own tournaments. It's completely player-led, as so often in poker. The players tend to evolve the game. There's no governing body to do it. And they played their own satellites, where each of them, 10 of them would pay $1,000. They'd play a mini tournament, and the winner would go and play in the World Championship. And that phenomenon spread, and now every big tournament, even online, has these satellites where you can gain entry. Kieran, the answer is most of the time you can't sell your buy-in, but some of the time you can. It's like one of those irregular verbs when you're learning French. World Series of Poker, for example, what you actually get is World Series of Poker chips, and if you're there in Las Vegas, you can sell them. If you win a World Series of Poker satellite entry thing online, my understanding is that you can't sell it. If you can't make it, whether or not you can get somebody to stand in for you, it will completely depend on the tournament. Everybody, online sites, poker rooms, whatever, they make their own rules, so whatever they decide for their tournament will go, basically. There's no one rule. The majority of cases, I don't think you can, but if you've got a specific one in mind, do check it out, because maybe it will be allowed. How are you doing, Cara?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Why do you ask?
Because I love and care for you, and
that's good.
And worry
I'm
about
just conscious that I'm on television now, and that the people who I may be playing against can see me.
Yes.
And that's not really fair, is it?
Oh, give me a bloody eye of your what's it? No? That's gone. Let's take another email while she does that. Stamper says, great show as always. I think it's particularly good tonight, Stamper, I'll be honest. Could you guys explain the river principle? I will. For you beginners out there, this is probably a little bit advanced, bit of an intermediate concept, but no harm in knowing it. The river principle is that when you get to the river, which is the last card, sorry, I've got a lady emoting next to me, so hard to stay focused. The river in Hold'em, the last card comes down. That's the end of the cards. No more cards, no more surprises. So what's done is done, and the hands won't change. So the river principle, I'm going to try and explain it in a snappy fashion, is never make a bet or a raise on the river that will only be called when you're beaten. Okay? So to give you a simple example, let's say you hold 3 of a kind. Okay? Good hand. And there's 4 hearts on board, and the 5th heart comes on the river. And you're playing against somebody else, and they've been calling your bets all the way. Okay? Let's say they check to you. So the river's gone, there's just you 2 in the pot, you're last to act. If you check, the hand's over, or you can bet. You've got 3 of a kind, it's a good hand, but now there's a flush possible, right? If you bet in that position, the only time that you'll get more money out of your opponent is if he's beating you. So if he was trapping you by checking, unless he's a very, very bad opponent, and he's just mindlessly throwing his money away. That's a caveat. There's always a caveat in poker, unfortunately. But normally speaking, with that flush possible on the river, you will only get paid, because he'll be scared of the flush too if he doesn't have it, you only get paid when you're behind, okay? So there's no point in betting, even though you've got a good hand. You just check and turn your cards over. So that's the river principle. Never make a bet or a raise if the only time you're going to get action, you're going to get paid, is when you're beat. Hope that helps, Stamper. Guys, keep the texts and the emails coming in. We will do lots more. We're going to go to a game. Let's get back to some poker. Back to our cash game. Pair of jacks for Beardy. Well, Lumas is getting carried away with his big chips there. I don't think there's really a call with the pair of eights. Snappet's got the card of his dreams. He's made 3 nines on the turn. And he should raise here. He does raise. And Beardy should throw this away. Good test of a no-limit hold'em player when you get action with top pair.
Well, I'm back.
You're back.
I am.
You're back from the land of cards.
From the land of cards.
Did you have a lovely time?
I did. I had a really lovely time. Thanks very much.
Was everyone nice to you in the chat box?
But they always are.
Were they mean about me?
No, they were very
Really?
nice. And the people who sent in the emails were in the chat box as well, and they
Oh,
did
yeah?
say thank you very much for all the helpful advice. And particularly Harwick as well. He sent in an email, I think. Harwick. And he said to say a special thank you because he plans to start playing on bigger tables anytime now.
Oh dear, did I say that?
Well, no, he said thanks for your advice.
Okay,
He's just going
all
to
right.
be implementing it in a bigger fashion.
Actually, the sort of addendum to that is, if you do want to start playing, you feel like you want to move up in games, I always use the phrase straddle it, but I think that's probably wrong. Mix it up. Don't feel like you have to go from the games you're comfortable in to the games that are bigger games and just make a black and white decision.
Okay.
Do it, start, dip your toe in the water, is what I'm saying.
See what it's like.
See if
Feel the
it's-
temperature.
See if it's salty.
You can't tell that from your toe.
Can you not?
No.
Well, some
You
of us
dip your
more sensitive
head in the
beings
water.
can, Karen.
Oh, can you now?
Oh, yeah.
That's just weird.
Sorry.
Right. We've got a multi-table tournament that I'm just dying to get to and take a look at some poker now
Cool.
that I've been spending the last hour immersed in my own game. So let's take a look at that.
Coming out the zone, you're still buzzing.
I am. I absolutely am.
Got 127 runners in this tournament, over 16 tables. That's what we started with, but we're now down to 25 across just 4 tables, Cara.
Aha.
So getting towards the business end of proceedings. G67, pondering his action. And he should ponder as well. He's only got 4,000 chips, and there's a lot in the pot, and that's a weak bet. If I was playing against him, that would suggest exactly what he has got, which is a bit of something. And a good piece of advice in poker is do what your opponent would like you to do. And if somebody puts out a little bet like that, you can bet that 9 times out of 10, what they'd least like you to do is raise them. So I think he was inviting a raise there.
Pair of sevens there for Ace Jules against King Ace by Cartoon Head, who's gone all in. Likes his King Ace. Probably didn't want to see the flop so much.
No, not a pretty flop for the Ace King, is it? And down to 3,000 chips now, Cartoon Head. This could be a big confrontation. Absolutely fantastic place to get a big hand on the button because the other players think that you're stealing and you're really not. Oh, and unlucky. Had some outs there, Folly. It's just a bad situation for Folly. Did absolutely nothing wrong. Just unlucky to find the opponent with kings on the button. through the oval window to another table in this tournament with friend of the show, L Pig, and the chip leader, Ambience.
Ambience. Oh. Ambience was in the chat box, I believe, on my tournament.
Oh,
Quite
yeah?
a bit, yes.
Any memories of his chat?
It's all a bit of a blur.
Is it?
I'm afraid. I wouldn't want to give anything away.
Right.
It was all absolutely directed towards the game and the play of the cards. There was no, you know, idle chit-chat to be had. This is very serious.
Okay.
Serious poker.
What's that like? Aces for Cam King. And that's what you want with aces, somebody to re-raise you. And you think, ha-ha.
Ha-ha-ha.
You think you have something. I'll show you a real hand, my friend. Two options here. He can either do that, or the other option is to call and not give away the true strength of your hand, and then check raise the flop. He chose to get it all in before the flop and gets his reward, a nice big pot. Kara's actually struggling with the 5-bar heater, aren't you?
It's
It is a
freezing.
bit cold in here.
It is a bit cold in here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologise for that. It was a bit cold.
I mean, I brought a jacket. Did you not bring one?
No, I
No,
didn't bring one.
No. Well, there's your error straight away. You're from Canada.
I know, I should be
They don't even
heartier
have
than this.
warm in Canada, do
But
they?
did I tell you I was actually in Florida last week? So
No, you
did I not tell
didn't
you?
mention that, no.
Did I not mention?
No.
Oh yeah, I was in Florida last week.
Right.
It was nice and warm there, really.
I'll bet.
That's a bet I'd take. Oh, ho, ho.
Don Wang is out.
Yes, you're right.
Thank you.
are
Nothing
certainly
goes
right.
past me.
No, you are sharp as a
I
tack.
tell you what, mine like a laser. And easy on the eye to boot.
This is true. I do like the haircut.
Thanks.
What? You're not supposed to laugh at that.
Sorry, I was laughing at the
Funny thing that just happened.
ludicrous pomposity I exude. 8-9 for Rob Van Slam. Thanks for the haircut compliment.
I like it. I think it's
Thanks.
great.
Ambience paused with the Jack 4, not quite sure why. Perhaps just listening to some whale song or something equally ambient and forgot he was playing in the poker tournament. Goldhill sees a pair, short stack, sticks it in. He's 50-50 to stay in the tournament. And he is going to stay in the tournament. Good
So
luck
there
to
we
him.
go. There we go. That's the multi-table tournament. We will be coming back to that, of course, especially when it gets down to the final table, because that's all very exciting.
Highlight of the night.
Oh,
Wow.
no, I'm sorry. You
One
say
of-
highlight
one
of the
highlights.
night.
One
The
of them.
highlight of the night will be
Yeah.
in the next hour when we get to watch back my tournament. I really enjoy that, even if someone in the chat box did say that it was just attention-seeking behaviour.
What
But
was?
still,
What, the whole thing?
being on television and playing poker and whatnot.
Yeah. Almost everyone on television is basically attention seeking.
Yes.
I don't want to. I hate to lift the veil, but that's
I know, that's pretty
true
much
story.
it. We all, you know.
Tragic.
Yeah, pretty much tragic. But we do have a lot of emails.
Brilliant.
So we're going to dive straight into those. Now, this one is actually from Loomis. Now, Loomis is saying about bounties, because we were talking about bounties in the multi-table tournament that had Michelle, one of our presenters, on it as well. Now, bounty meant that if any of the other players actually knocked her out of the tournament, they would have taken some money for that. Now, Loomis says, I think that it's true that if you have a bounty on your head, you're more likely to be called, especially in a $5 rebuy tournament where you earn $50 for knocking out select players. Yeah, that's a huge amount of equity, that amount of money, $50 for a $5 buy-in. First time I joined the tournament you are that you're showing was a few weeks back, and I called the players pre-flop all in for about 4,000 chips because he said he wasn't rebuying. I had ace 4, he had 8-8, I rivered an ace and earned $50. Although this didn't work the second time, I did it with 2-3 offsuit versus the other bounties, ace-king. As long as it works every 9 times, I'm making a profit just on bounties alone. That's true, it does add another dimension to the game.
Very brilliant to make a profit on bounties. So like you got...
Who doesn't like a good bounty? Chocolate, coconut, put them together. Who doesn't like a good bounty?
It sounds like the sort of thing, you might have missed this growing up in Canada, but Gonch on Grange Hill, did you see him?
Sorry, no.
You know what I'm talking about, Gonch on Grange Hill. He always had a scheme, money make, sounds like the sort of thing he would have done. Yeah, I've made £48 on bounties.
Oh.
But yeah, you know, what Lumas says is true. If there's a $50 bounty in a $5 rebuy tournament, then that becomes incredibly significant, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does.
You should actually be calling a lot of times that player plays, really.
Interesting.
But as I said before, when Michelle was playing, it kind of helps the bounty players because they are getting more value every time they have a hand, because people are much more likely to call and play with them. So it works both ways, I think.
I guess so. It does make it, adds a different bit of interest to it, I think.
It does.
Right, now we have another email here. This is from Exastream. Exastream says, "Hi, Kara and Nick. I thought I'd share with you my theory of poker and the luck stigma that's attached to it when a player has had a bad beat. Now, my problem to this is that even though the same player in the long run will triumph over players with weaker hands, don't you think that this triumph can only be consistent when the poker player plays the same opponents more often?" Now, I hope that you're following this, Nick.
Yeah.
Are you following this?
What's the
Good.
middle thing?
Right. This also says, as continually playing different opponents increases your chances of a bad beat, I don't really understand why that would be, as a wider range of opponents are more than likely to be on a lucky streak themselves. I'm typing this because four single table tournaments in a row, I've got my triple aces and jacks outdone by either the player hitting his flush on the river or by hitting a gut shot straight on the river. That is really unlucky. He says, darn that river. Thoughts and opinions greatly appreciated. Thanks very much. And that's from Exastream.
Well, I've got quite fascist feelings on this.
I'm shocked.
I don't believe there's any such thing as luck in poker. There is something called statistical variance. Look, here's the deal. There's no luck in poker because everything can be framed mathematically. It's a 52-card game. Every time you deal a card in a poker hand, we know the chances of any given card coming out. So we can work it all out as a probability. So therefore, when people talk about bad luck, they're just talking about something that happens against statistical likelihood. So if you've got a 80% chance of winning a hand and somebody's got a 20% chance of winning the hand, if they win that hand, you haven't been unlucky. It's just that on that occasion, the thin end of the statistical wedge has come up. But if that situation happened thousands of times, it is a certainty, okay, that 80% of the time you will win that hand. So all you're doing when you're playing poker is trying to put yourself into positions where you have the statistical thick end of the wedge. You have the numbers behind you. So you're in the 80% camp, not the 20% camp. If you keep doing that, if you keep putting yourself in those positions, then you can't fail to win. It's not a subject for opinion or discussion. You must win. If you're not winning, it's because either A, the thin end of the statistical wedge is coming up in an increased variance for you in that moment in time. Now that can last for a decent amount of time. You can have a run where that lasts a long time, which people refer to as a bad run, fine. But it's not an unlucky run, it's a bad run, statistically. Or the second possibility is you're not playing well. That's the other possibility. You're not putting yourself in a position to win. So when you talk about, you know, you've had four STTs in a row where you've got outdrawn, that's easy, I'm afraid. That's the bad news. If you play poker long enough, you'll have 20 outdraws in a row in 2 days. You'll have every bad thing. But the point is, if you keep putting yourself in situations where you have an edge, you must win. It's simple, and I get all worked up and fascist about it.
He does. Look at him, he's all worked up. He's all het up. Right, well, when we come back after the break, you're going to see me getting a bit worked up because it's my tournament that we're showing. So make sure you stay tuned. I'm quite excited about this.
I think we all are.
Oh,
Eye of the Chaffinch.
Eye of the Chaffinch.
Right there, right there.
And welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm Kara Scott, still, and this is Nick Wealthall, TV's Nick Wealthall. In fact, still.
Thank you.
And this hour, we bring you something incredibly exciting. This is a single table tournament, $2 no less for this buy-in, $2 that I happen to be playing in. But first, we've got some emails.
Exciting.
Oh.
Oh, and that's even more exciting, emails.
That's not more exciting, but it is exciting as well.
It is to me.
Actually, because we do have an...
No, not really. Not really.
We've got an email here from Michelle, who is playing in the...
Do you see the look, though? That was serious, man.
Anyways,
Michelle.
Yes, Michelle.
Yes.
Now, she's been kind enough to email in and let us know how she feels about her standing in the tournament, the multi-table tournament that we were showing earlier. She played under Poker Zone M, so there you go. Michelle says that she came in third, and she's really excited. She says, yay, well done me, and yeah, well done to you, Michelle, because that is a fantastic showing, so well done. And she says, yes, Nick, I am satisfied with third. So
She
I
didn't
think
say it
she's...
like that.
Well, she might. I kind of think she did.
Well, I can tell by the way it's typed she didn't mean it like that.
I think there's a bit of a head waggle in there. She said, I really did want to win it. And I think if I hadn't got the 10s, I would have had a good chance to do so. But it's only my third MTT and only my second rebuy, so I've really had to think about how to play. My usual game is tight, and I knew if I wanted a chance, I'd have to loosen up. That's fantastic, and we are very proud of you, Michelle, and think that you've done ever so well. She says, looking back, I'm really pleased with my play. I did make a few mistakes with bad calls early on, and I got lucky with one of them against Snaky, bless her. But in general, I'm pretty sure I played a good game. I'm so chuffed with third, even though it was a small MTT, and I'm even more pleased with knocking out Hoofy. Like we said.
Knew it.
So there you go. She said she did try to wind everyone up with the whole bounty thing by typing in the chat box, come on, get my bounty. There you go.
Very sensible.
Yeah,
Very
so
sensible.
she doesn't know if it really helped it or not,
I learned this
though.
from gangster rappers. Watch
Did
this.
you?
Props. That's what they say, isn't
What?
it? Props. Yeah, and then they do a kiss, and they like that, sort of down like that. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Check it.
Check it out.
Yeah.
No, don't even. Don't try to suck
Okay.
me into your whole street.
Have we got an
thing.
email from a viewer, not one of our crew?
Yes,
because
we
that's
do.
A bit,
In fact,
isn't it?
we do. So let's
Love you
go
and
to
everything,
one
Michelle,
of those. We've got one from Karen. In fact, I think that you rather like this email.
Well,
She's really, really flattering to our Nick Wealthall.
God
This
bless
is
her.
Karen, aka Shamanad.
Mum's finally learned how to use email. Well done, Mum.
No, because I know who that would be Sue.
That would be Sue.
Right. Hi, Kara and Nick. Question. Given that early on, in low buy-in MTTs, there are always people that seem to go all in and not pay any attention to the right way of playing. If you get aces, kings, queens, or ace-king suited, should I always take the bet? I ask the question because these guys invariably seem to make this play with middle-of-the-road cards, and it seems to me to be uncanny how many times I get outdrawn. I'd welcome your thoughts, and thanks again for such a great show. And then she goes on to flatter Nick. His dry sense of humour.
Read it properly. That's not fair. Read it properly. Come on.
Right.
Very good point, this, Karen.
Nick, your dry sense of humour is always appreciated. Speaking as a Welsh girl stuck in France, and these are her views. The land where irony is really not understood, and she just can't get a decent curry, she said. I look forward to my weeknights, and thank God for satellite TV and your programs. Merci. She loves you.
Karen, it's clear that you're an intelligent player.
A woman of taste.
And one who's going to go far in the game. It's evident, isn't it? Thank you for those kind words. It's beautiful. It's made my decade, actually. She did ask a poker question.
Do you remember what it was now?
No.
No.
Couldn't care less.
Went straight
could
to
not care less.
No.
She asked a poker question which is not dissimilar to the one we answered before about getting unlucky and getting outdrawn and this kind of thing. Basically, in low-limit multi-table tournaments with guys that are always going all in, tends to be one word, which is frustrating. But I want you to take that frustration and reshape it and see it as opportunity. Where there is dark, see light. Where there is badness, see no badness. All right? Because it is opportunity, and it is great that they do it, because they're putting all their money in. See how easy it is? They're putting all their money in with bad cards, and you get to put all your money in with better cards. As discussed before, you keep doing that, you must win. Not might win, must win. The key word for you to bear in mind, though, in these situations is variance. Because every time this happens and you put your money in, you're not... Are you paying attention properly?
Yes.
Well, I don't think you are.
Variance.
Karen is, so I'll talk to Karen and the rest of the Poker Live audience. You're going to have tremendous variance in these low-limit multi-table tournaments. And by variance, I mean it's possible to go a long time before you hit a payoff. But when you hit a payoff, you'll normally have a lot of chips and you'll win the tournament. So you might go a long time between wins, but when you do win, you win a lot of money. The reason for that is that you're having to put your chips in jeopardy. And this is what your email's about. Because they're going all in, you have to go all in, and you're jeopardising that one tournament life. I understand the problem. But you should always take the bet because you have a big positive expectation. The key is to always take the bet when you've really got the goods. If they're going all in that much and it's the early stages, you can actually wait till you've got a big pair, jacks or higher, preferably queens, kings or aces. And then you're going to have at least a 4-to-1 edge most of the time when they're going all in. That's what you're looking for, the big edge. So that you don't have quite as much variance and you can wait a little bit longer. But don't see it as frustration, see it as opportunity. Remember the reframing of the problem, and hopefully that will help you to combat those times when they get lucky on you, because that's all that's happening. I know I said there was no luck, so they're hitting the less statistically likely outcome, and that will only happen for so long. Karen and others, don't get frustrated. That comes from a boss I once had called Colin Milne, who I hated and thought was a completely morally bankrupt man. I hope you or somebody that knows you was watching. But what he did once was, after a sales meeting, after I'd been on a sales call with a client, he said, I like what you did in that meeting, Nick. This is actually true. He wasn't being trying to be comical. He actually did this. He went, I like what you did in that meeting because things started off one way and then it was clear he wasn't what you thought and you changed your position. And I was supposed to sit there and not laugh or cry. Hence, I left proper jobs before they sacked me.
Which I think was probably
for the best.
A really smart idea.
Proper jobs.
Yep.
Yeah,
well done you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Karen.
And thanks for all the different, little box, big bucks, big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Big fish, little fish.
I like the
whole
hand
bunch of
movements.
love. It's very, very easy to get frustrated when you play poker. It's particularly very easy nowadays online at low limits because Karen's right, and everybody knows this. A lot of players just play for fun, have a laugh, throw their chips around. And if you're trying to play well and win, it can be frustrating. But the key to it, as with all frustration in life, is to see the opportunity within the difficult situation. And the opportunity is that they're putting in their chips with worse hands than you're going to put your chips in with. And so on the occasions they get lucky on you, you go c'est la vie and you go to the next tournament. Yeah,
absolutely true. Because, I mean, it is going to happen, but if you continue to play good flexible poker and make sure that you adjust your game to the table you're sat at.
Yes. I just had another thought, which is Mike Carrow, who, do read Mike Carrow. He's got a completely different take on poker to most of the quite dry theorists. He approaches the game from a completely humanist point of view, although he's a great statistician as well, funnily enough. But he actually takes it further. He says for your own karma and to ease the frustration, when it goes all in, actually root for your opponent. So when the cards are turned over and you've got 2 kings and he's got 8-4, put in the chat box, good hand, hope you win, and actually think, I hope he hits, I hope he gets his hand. Because you know what? It doesn't make any difference. The statistics are still the same.
Right.
Mostly you'll win, occasionally you'll lose. But A, you'll feel better when he wins. B, he'll feel better when he loses. And C, it's good for your karma, give out, get back. So why not go one step further?
Right. Lie more in life because it's good for your karma.
Lying. No, not lying. Feeling empathetic for your fellow man.
Yes. Be more
I suspect you're not going to jump on board with this concept. No?
I think it's a nice one in theory.
Yeah, it probably is better in theory.
Usually I just root for myself.
But
I think I need all the rooting
the opportunity
for
and frustration.
myself that, there
See,
you go.
that is not reshaping, is it? You need to be more fixed in your...
Right.
That's nice.
Thank you very much.
All the moves.
I think that we need to take a look at my tournament now.
Oh.
And I do apologise at this point for making fun of you, because I know you're now going to be commentating on my game and my play. And so I don't want you to be too harsh. But if anyone else out there is watching and they want to have comments about the game, about the way I played, feel free, because
Especially if they're in the game, that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool. And everyone was so nice at the time, and I do appreciate it. But seriously, I know that I'm a beginner. I need, tips and advice. So feel free to let me know what you think of the way I played. You can get in touch with us here in the studio a few different ways. You can send us a text message. That's the first way. And there it is on the screen for you. Text poker and your question or comment to 84222. Or if you'd like to send an email in, that's great. So you can email us here in the studio, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk.
Cool.
Yes. Right.
You ready?
Yes.
Do you want these special analysis classes?
I do. Oh, yes, please.
Very good.
This is my favourite part of the show.
Check
Thanks
this
very
out.
much. Right then, I'm ready. Let's do it.
You look hot.
Thanks.
Be my personal assistant. Here we go, Kara Scott, for
Great
your
Scott.
delectation.
5-4
C1.
suited, beginning
5-4
of the game.
suited.
I don't think so.
If you were late position,
And everyone had folded around to me?
or if some people had called without a raise, you could have a little look at a flop because it's cheap.
Exactly.
But,
in fact, if I'd probably put in 3 times the big blind, even at this point, if someone had just called, I probably could have knocked them off of it.
Maybe so, Kara. That's aggressive thinking.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Isn't it, though? Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I was going to give a little wave to one of our regular viewers, Scotty. Apparently,
Well, he can't
was
see you now.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying it. He was at home watching, and he said he'd given me a wave, and he was quite upset I hadn't waved back, and I had to make it quite clear that...
Does Scotty understand television?
I know, this is what I'm thinking, really. The way it goes in television. There you go.
With the analysis glasses on.
Yes, even more special. I do like these glasses.
Yeah.
Right, so now what should we be looking for here?
It's all a magical mystery tour to you, isn't it?
No.
If you get a headache, you have to take them off.
I can't see really that far in these, but I do love them.
So, who did you know when you sat down at the table? What names were familiar to you, Kara?
Loomis, of course.
Yeah.
Robo Squirrel, because we'd seen him just in the game previously, and I do love
You're
that
not going
name.
to forget that name.
No, and I've seen Atrocity before.
So have I. It's not pretty.
And Aunt Sally as well. And then there were loads of people in the chat box watching the tournament, which was really nice as well. Ambient from the multi-table, and oh gosh, lots of the usuals were on there as well. Buffy Be Good, Farce, lots of them.
Cool.
Yeah, it was nice. It's nice
The
when
whole- the
all
whole
the regulars.
gang.
The whole gang was there. It's nice when the regulars, come in and watch, give me tips, and try to help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Right, big blind.
Nice hand having the big blind. If
Well, I
nobody
don't think
raises.
I made the most of it. Let's see.
Oh, really?
No, because I basically, well, you'll see what I did. I probably should have put a nice raise in there, thinking that, someone had just, like what we've just said, someone has called, nobody's raised. I probably could have just...
you could have bet there. I mean, you're in first position, so you don't have to do anything. You probably should have bet because there's a high chance you've got the best hand.
Yeah.
But there's also a high chance that the next card that comes will mean that you may not have, and it'll be hard for you to know.
I didn't give up any more money, though. I mean, there is that. I just
Uh-huh.
checked it all the way around. I should have been more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean...
I had bottom pair. I was like... Well, as far as I knew, I had bottom pair.
Yeah, I mean, let's analyse it a bit. The only way that you don't have the best hand when that flop comes down, using the glasses, good,
Analysing.
is if somebody's got a 9. Now, it's not that likely that someone has a 9, and you made a solid fold there, so that's good. It's not that likely somebody has a 9 because there's 2 in the middle. That
Right.
sounds trite, but that's the way of it. So you shouldn't worry about a 9 until there's evidence to worry about a 9. So in order to have a better hand than you on that flop, they need a pair of 8s, a pair of 10s, pair of jacks, pair of queens, pair of kings, pair of aces. Now, apart from a pair of 8s, all the rest of the hands they're probably going to raise with before the flop.
Right, yeah.
So the reason I'm doing this is just to get you into the habit of thinking looking at
about
the
it.
evidence that you've got to
Yeah.
try and work out where you are.
Uh-huh.
So it's not definitely true, but the likelihood is in that situation that you have got the best hand on that flop.
Okay.
So that's probably why you should have bet. But it's not, you
Okay.
didn't make a big mistake or anything. It's just interesting how you can piece it together.
Yeah. I was far too passive. Even as I was doing it, I was thinking, I'm being far too passive. But I thought once I checked it twice, if I then go and put in a bet or a raise, I didn't know what that would be saying about the hand that I had.
Well, Lumas has made a challenge. This is the thing about Lumas. He's a bit lively.
He is.
He likes a bluff, he likes a move. And sometimes that works out very well, and sometimes that fails terribly. I'm not talking about just Lumas, I'm talking about that way of playing. Here he's run into a hand, he's going to have to put it down. Yeah, I mean, I think when most people start playing poker, there is definitely a shift in terms of becoming more aggressive.
Right. Because you do see, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you do see,
Please do.
as a beginner player, that shift does actually come. You see the benefit in being more aggressive. You realise, the benefit of being aggressive.
Well, there's lots of ways to get to that point. One of them is to ask yourself, what do you least like to happen when you're playing? Mm-hmm. And I think it's true to say that for most people, look at that, flopped straight for Nick. No, it's not. I can't count. Just ignore that bit. Let's never talk about it again. When you start playing, you should ask yourself, what would you least like to happen? Like if you're, say you're in a heads-up pot, what's unpleasant is when somebody keeps betting or is aggressive or keeps challenging you, or keeps asking you to put more chips in. Yeah. Quite often when you're sitting there, you know, you've got a marginal hand, you'd quite like it to be checked round or whatever. So be the other person. Be the person. It's a sort of classic game theory question to ask, which is, what would my opponent...
Whoa, that's a big bet.
Isn't it?
Sorry. That was bigger than I thought it was going to be.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with what you did. Why did it come out so big?
Oh, it was...
Long story?
Yeah. I'm still having trouble with the slidey bar.
That's fair enough.
But it worked.
You can type in your number.
I know,
but you're a bit lazy.
It takes me a while. I get the cursor in the box. And
you know why it takes you a while?
Why?
All you're doing is chatting.
I enjoy being the presenter slot. I really do. I find it incredibly...
If you're not enjoying playing poker, you should be doing something else. Has always been my view.
Very true.
But you did the right thing. Raising was the right thing, so,
yeah,
you know,
I figured it was safe enough. I had a fairly good hand. It was late-ish position.
Everyone's passed.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Probably should have done it again. But then again, it was too early a position, I thought, at that point. But I am thinking about it. See?
Well...
Thinking away. Thinking.
You know what, Cara Scott? I like that fold.
Good. Good, you know what? And looking at it now, I can see why it's a good thing. Which is nice. I'm not just making rash decisions as much as I was before.
Definitely. And the thing... the good thing about that is King Jack is one of those hands that, when you start playing the game, just looks so much better than it is. Because it's two high cards. But the problem is, when you raise, if you get called, you're almost always behind. It's very unlikely that a worse hand would call you. So you don't want to play that hand out of position when there's lots of people behind you who could play with you.
Gotcha.
But I don't know why I'm telling you all this, because you obviously know it, because you did it.
Thank you. Well, you know what? It helps, though. And hearing it a couple of times, it takes a while. I think when you hear the advice...
Look at this.
Ooh, ah.
Jacks, kings and queens.
Wow.
That's quite unusual, Cara.
That is quite unusual.
Let's see if any of them can get out of it. Well, Cat should survive because he's got more chips than the others. Well, that's a good pass by the robotic nut gatherer. Yeah, Cat can't get away from it, but then again has chips to survive. Atrocity needs the kings to stand up. Only a queen will lose it. And Robo Squirrel will see those cards turned over and view himself a poker genius, and quite rightly too. Getting away from those jacks.
Oh.
Blinds have gone up already.
I'm in the big blind, and I'm thinking, before Loomis obviously raised it, how nice it would have been to have done that myself.
Yes.
Made a nice big raise and just taken down the blinds. But oh no. Loomis did it instead.
With the 7-2.
I know.
Like I said, lively.
I should have actually challenged him on that. Although, I suppose in the long run, that's a good thing, not
Well,
to
the
challenge
problem
him
from
from
is,
the big blind.
well, one of the questions I ask a lot when I'm teaching is, what's your plan?
Right.
How when you say challenge him, how would you do that? Because one of the key strengths of being aggressive in poker, as Loomas was there, is it's very difficult for your opponents to know whether you're representing as he was or whether you've got the real deal.
That's true.
And if, let's say you call there, let's say you're in the big blind, you think, oh, Loomas, he bluffs a lot, he probably hasn't got very much, I'll call and see a flop. You call and see a flop, and the flop comes ace, jack, 4, so you've got a pair of jacks. How can you possibly know whether you're winning or not?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible for you to know where you are. Again, position is a big factor in this game. The more times you can play with position on somebody, the better your results are going to be.
Yeah, it's just not worth the risk.
You just put yourself in such a difficult position because you've got to act before him all the time. And if he wants to be aggressive and raise and whatever, unless you flop a fantastic hand, you're going to be uncertain. You're going to be playing in a marginal situation. You don't want to do that. You've actually, in some ways, got quite a bad seat draw here, because Loomas is the most active player at the table, and he's to your immediate left, and you'd probably rather have him on the other side so you know what he's doing.
Yeah, because he does do this quite a bit.
He does. We've seen it in the cash games as well. It was working out for him in tonight's cash game, but he's an up and down player, I think. Loomas already emailed once tonight. Good evening to you. Do get in touch about this game. Poker at Poker Night Live for you and everybody else who is either watching or playing. Actually, for everybody. Same for everybody, isn't it? Same address.
True. Yeah, well, I was pleased. I think I played a bit more solid poker than I have in the past. So I'm seeing the progression of my own game, which is nice. And in fact, I got a few comments as well from some of the more established players, like Balrog UK, who's on the show quite a bit as well, saying that, you know, they thought that my game was improving. I've got to say, I was much gratified.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what counts. Is that King Jack again?
I know. An early position.
I think actually in the same position as last time.
Pretty much. I really desperately want to do something with it. But it's just so dangerous. There's too many people that need to act behind me.
Yeah,
I mean, locked into a pot that I'm not going to win. Or...
You know, you're in the process of learning the game and learning the values of hands, and I think it's good that you're passing it. There is an option, which is you could play it for the minimum.
Yeah, and just see what happens.
And see what happens. And if it's an unraised pot, then you can see if you flop anything, you might have the best hand. But
it's kind of a weak thing to do, though, isn't it?
It kind of is, and the bottom line is it's a marginal hand, and you're putting yourself in a situation where you may have a difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
It's early in the tournament, and you know, like I said, I think it's good that you're folding that type of hand.
Okay. It seemed to me that when I did put a raise in on any hand, it was listened to, because I am playing quite tight. I mean, I'm not really splashing out on that many cards. I'm not playing that many. I think my starting standards are quite high. So I think I have the table image of being quite a tight player.
I think that's definitely true. I think that all of the guys, if they're regular watchers of the show, will know. They know what you know. They know how you what you've been taught and what you've listened to. So
yeah, definitely.
They will definitely think that when you move. And here's an idea, and this is, we were talking before about how you learn the game and learning poker, and something that I didn't talk about then, but I'll talk about now, because it's a potentially dangerous idea if you don't use it the specific way I'm going to tell you to use it, which is next time you play, try a couple of experiments.
Okay.
Okay. Try a couple of premeditated raises early in the tournament out of position.
Okay.
Okay. And see if that's true. See if you have got the table image. See what it feels like to play bad cards. And exactly. And I would give the general tip to people learning the game, not in the first a couple of months. But when you've got the basics, start experimenting, start to find a style, start to try different moves, because it will not, in a lot of poker games, if you play good cards, you'll get the money. But in the long, sort of over your poker career, and when you start to move up into intermediate games, it won't be enough. Particularly tournament play, you need to have the capacity to make moves. Now, people get carried away with bluffs and playing bad cards, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about having that ability just to do something different. If you're in a situation in a game, which I think you probably are there, where people expect you to play tight and know that you're only playing good cards because you're sticking to strict rules that you've learned, then there's obvious profit in deviating from that once in a while.
Yep, I can see that.
Right? Because they will think that you have. If you say they're playing you and you raise from any position, and somebody calls you and the flop comes with an ace and they don't have an ace, if you bet, it doesn't matter what your cards are, they're not going to play. So there's plays like that that you can take advantage of, that any of you can take advantage of if you're in a game where you have a tight image. So there's that point, but then there's also the bigger point about once you've got the basics, experiment, but know that you're experimenting. Don't start. See, I'm sort of cautious about saying, so I don't want people to start playing wild. Right.
So if I do it, I raise with bad cards out of position, and I take down the blinds or whatever. I make some money. Don't then go and do it over and over and over again and make it part of my repertoire.
The other thing you can do is you could play in a very, very small cash game or a play money game. And actually, Daniel Grano, who I've mentioned before on the show, had a game that he used to play when he was learning. What did he call it? Can't remember. But the rule was you have to raise every single hand, right?
Okay.
You have to raise every single hand you're dealt. This is a game you can play. This is not something to do for profit, guys, right? This is to help your poker. You raise every single hand before the flop, and then you play as well as you can after the flop. And the goal is to break even. So you can do this on a play money table. You don't have to do this for cash. The goal is to break even. And what it does is it teaches you when you can play with rubbish, when you can steal, when you can make those pre-flop moves. But it also massively improves your play after the flop, because you'll have marginal decisions to make. Because the one thing about learning the solid basics of the game is you learn to play aces, kings, queens, ace, king. It's relatively, quite often relatively straightforward to play those hands, right? When you start playing in tournaments and when you start playing in bigger level games, you'll actually have difficult decisions to make, marginal decisions, and you need to get used to playing those marginal decisions. So every once in a while, playing a play money game, playing a very small limit game, and do something different as an experiment to add a string to your bow.
Okay, well, let's go back and take a look at this game, and you can, yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to do that. Let's take a look at this game that I've been playing, and you can give me a bit more help on the things that I've been doing.
Cool.
But I like that. I'm going to try that.
Okay. And you'll like it because it's more fun than sitting there and waiting for good hands all the time.
I quite, because that is the bit that really gets to me. That's why I think I chat so much in the chat box. It's because I get bored if I'm not playing.
Have you played, we might have talked about this before, have you played a heads-up game yet?
No, I've not.
Well, do that.
Really?
You can play me heads up if you like.
Uh-oh.
If you're... this is just... most people that play poker now just see this as normal, but I still think it's great. You could play a heads-up match for either play money or for, $1 or for $1,000 online whenever you like. There's heads-up matches all the time. So why not try a heads-up match? Because then you can play almost every hand.
That's true, yeah.
And you have tricky decisions to make.
Yeah,
so you don't like it now, do you?
No, because I'd have to play with bad cards. I don't like playing with bad cards.
Well, it's just, you need to do this business.
Although, look
they're not
here.
Bad cards, they're an opportunity.
Just change my perspective.
Are you about to get into a difficult situation?
Well, I'm looking at my stack and thinking, I don't want it to go down too much. Here I am, I'm on the button. Nobody's raised, everyone's folded around to me, but...
a little bit of intuition there, haven't you?
Yeah.
You must have somehow known that there were kings in the big blind.
I could feel them. I could feel them lurking out there. Those lurky kings. So far, I'm doing all right here. Nothing to really complain about?
No,
Am I being a bit too tight, do you think?
I don't think so. I mean... I don't think we should ever criticise Anyone that's been...
For anything.
Yeah. I don't think anyone that's been playing less than a year, I don't think we should ever criticise them for being too tight.
Okay.
Because playing tight is the hardest thing to learn. I remember somebody once asked, I can't remember which pro it was, Ace King raise. Quite right too. Quite a small raise, Karen.
I know, I should have done 3 times a big blind, shouldn't I?
Yeah, but you don't.
I only did 2, I suppose that's not.
Do whatever you like, they're your chips.
You're being very careful not to criticise me, which is nice.
Well, that's because I like you. But that was rubbish.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like I said before when Michelle was playing, if doubling the big blind gets everybody to fold, then doubling the big blind is fine.
True.
The reason we recommend 3 times the big blind is that doubling the big blind doesn't give enough disincentive for people to come in and then they can outdraw you.
Especially if they are the big blind.
Yeah.
Because they only have to put in...
That's right.
Yeah. And considering I was playing against the big blind, I probably should have put in 3 times the big blind.
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, you double the big blind and it worked. So it's not, that's a good thing.
Okay.
So you got your 1,000 chips.
I do.
You're back where you started.
I know. I've not moved at all.
The situation has not improved.
Except, yeah, it has a bit. There's only 7 players left.
That's right.
I've not gone out first, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I've gone out first.
That hurts.
I'm proud to say.
Were you just, experimenting and...
That's right.
Ah, yes.
Definitely.
See, I
was
so.
Definitely experimenting
so.
at the time. Well, Atrocity's flop 3 sevens. I have to admit, I would have been tempted to smooth call, to quote a phrase from earlier. I'd have been tempted to call there because he's heads up and he hasn't got much. He's almost certainly got a much bigger hand than his opponent there. Ace King.
Too early a position.
Ooh.
Really? Bad?
I think.
First? Ace King?
Yeah.
You're right. That was stupid. That was really stupid, wasn't it? Oh, well.
It wasn't really stupid.
No, it was pretty much. You don't have to be so nice about it, Nick. That was a bad move.
Stupid.
That was a bad move. I had Ace King.
Yeah, but you see, the fact that you were... I'm not being too nice. I honestly think it's good that you're registering the fact that you're in first position and that has a big bearing on what hands you play. I think with Ace King, you've taken the idea too far, but but seriously, I would much rather you took it too far that way than the other way.
Okay.
Playing too tight is always better than playing too loose, in my view.
Yep.
This is what I was going to say. It was a top pro, and I can't remember which one it was, but he was asked, what advice would you give to beginners? And he said, go home, don't go to the card room, and spend 8 hours a day for about a month dealing out hold'em hands and throwing them away. And then just dealing hands out of a day and just throwing them away. And then once you've got folding down as an art form, then you can play for money.
Yeah.
He's just making the point, obviously, in a completely jokey way, that the hardest thing for beginners to do is throw their cards away.
But Ace
and
King
it's
maybe
the most
not.
important thing.
Maybe should have been... So what was I doing there?
You're raising quite rightly, and you're going to have his big blind away.
Yep. That's not even his big blind.
It is.
He just called the big blind.
No, that's his big
Oh,
blind.
no, it is as well. Sorry, there's an empty seat.
It's fine.
Trick of the mind there. Oh.
Trick of that. You know why, don't you? So you've taken off the analysis classes.
Oh, yeah.
Your powers are weak.
My powers of analysis are weak at best.
They're weak at best. Good.
I'm still in the game. Just stating the obvious,
Still in the
but it's
game.
not a bad thing.
That's good.
Got 1,000 chips. I've just paid the blinds as well, so yeah, there we go. Ace King again.
You're literally getting down Ace King as some sort of profession.
Oh boy.
You're going to raise this time, aren't you? You are, aren't you?
Would you put money on it?
I would have to criticise you if you didn't.
2 times in a row?
I might have to hit you to reinforce the learning process.
Hey! You were worried for that one.
I was worried.
Yeah, so was I.
It was a thought. Like,
what if she didn't?
What was you thinking about? She was thinking about those poppadoms.
They were good. Good poppadoms.
And
Right.
Atrocity's thinking about it. He's got one of those tempting hands. So the thing is, he's got some chips, so he's tempted, but he respects the Scot.
See?
Quite right, too.
Yes. Play quite tight. They respect me.
Well,
I should have taken advantage of it more often, and maybe I will do in the future.
well, I think the great enemy when you learn poker is fear, because, as you see, Boswellite head makes a bit of a boneheaded play, to be fair. Just raised far too much with the kings, and that's that's the best hand he's going to probably see for the rest of the tournament, and he didn't give himself much of an opportunity to win with it.
Ah.
I think Cat's going to call, probably just put all his chips in with these jacks. And he's a favourite in the hand.
But does he know it?
I'm sure he does. I'm absolutely stunned.
He probably puts Robo Squirrel on.
That's really...
I must do, put him on a better
it's-
hand. But he's got so few chips.
It's like the show scripted. The last thing I said was the great thing in poker is fear. Well, that Cat throwing away the jacks there is a play born of fear. And if you are afraid when you play poker, you will see tigers in the long grass. You'll see
It's
aces
true.
everywhere and flushes against you. And do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And to be a winning poker player, you need completely the opposite point of view. You need to not worry about the you do need to worry about you need to not worry about
Not to
people
let it be
having massive
debilitating.
hands
Yeah.
until you've got evidence that they have.
Okay.
You need to play with confidence and aggression. And I know it's for all of his chips there, Cat, and I know who's calling for all of his chips, but Robo Squirrel's in late position, and Jax he's almost certainly a favourite there. So it's an interesting fold. It's not a fold you'll see very often. Interested by it. Could mean that Cat's a thinking player there. Although it's not the decision I would have taken. I'd be interested to hear his view. Poker at pokernightlive.co.uk, of course.
Oh, I think Atrocity.
Going to take out Nick, isn't he?
Oh, yes.
Well, not quite. Cripple him.
Yeah, as good as, really.
The big chip leader.
Ouch. Now, if you see someone who's all in like that, everyone else folds around to you, would you go in just to see what happens? He's only got 160. That's all it's going to cost you. Well, no, yeah, 160.
Who am I?
I suppose so, right. If you were me...
If I was in your seat there
Yeah.
and I had 3-7, that's when it gets really difficult, because you should probably call, because it costs you 80.
Yeah.
Well, you should call. It costs whatever your cards are, and the reason is it costs you 80. There's 240 in the pot, the big blind and the small blind, so it's a 3-to-1 deal, and he's all in, so you can't lose any more.
Yeah.
So it's 3-to-1, and most of the time, unless he's got a pair, which is unlikely because he's just got 2 random cards.
Yeah, and he's been forced into that.
Correct. Unless he's got a pair, you're going to be a better than 3-to-1 shot, even if you've got 7-3 most of the time. So yes, I would call.
Okay.
Ace Queen for Great Scott.
Uh-oh.
What's she going to do? Now, you've got a slightly tricky situation here because of the blinds relative to your stack. And if you put in 3 times the big blind, that actually completely commits you. So you've put in 2. And I don't think that's a bad play at all. I think that's good. The option is to go all in.
Yeah.
But that completely commits you, I suppose.
With Ace Queen, I really didn't want to go all
She
in.
didn't want to, and that's fair.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's the same, it's the same deal. You've doubled the big blind, it's worked. So, what's the problem?
From sitting at the table, it felt like the atmosphere, the ambiance of the table, said that 2 times a big blind would actually work for that.
Well, it's quite a tight table. I've just seen someone fold jacks. You won't see that in many $5 sit and goes.
Yeah. $2.
I'd lay 20 pence. That's the first time that's ever happened in a $2 sit and go in the history of poker.
Yep. I think you might be right.
Well, this tournament's going to flare into action very soon because you've got 5 players who are all slightly in jeopardy from these blinds. Atrocity's the only one that's comfortable.
Yeah.
So you can't all stick around, I'm afraid.
We can't all stick around. This is true. Wow. Pair of 3s on the button.
Yeah.
What pushed me off?
Well, I think probably you should have done. You've got 960 left, which is, you know...
Not desperate.
It's not great, but it's not desperate.
Yeah.
Again, if you play that hand, you're out of position, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. And again, so a pair of fours on the big blind, but someone's raised it already. I just didn't feel confident to play it.
No,
so.
they haven't raised it.
Haven't raised
keep
it?
doing the same thing.
Oh, sorry.
You're in
You're
the
absolutely
small
right.
blind.
I keep not seeing these silly empty seats.
Okay, now somebody's raised it.
Right.
You're probably
Ah, yes.
playing
I was
from memory.
harkening back to that moment.
Yeah, Aunt Sally making one of those plays where I know that stealing on the button is... nothing wrong with stealing on the button, but she was risking her tournament in doing it. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, but she kind of left like 300 chips behind, which is a weird thing to do because
Right.
if somebody goes all in, as happened to her, she's going to have to call. So might as well put them all in the first place.
Yeah.
And the blinds have gone up, so now we really are in cutthroat territory.
This is true.
And our beloved carer is the short stack.
Ouch.
Muck the ace two.
I did. It's ace high, but that's all it's got going for it. It wasn't even suited.
That's true. Your problem is you've got to find an opportunity to stick your money in.
I know.
Because you've got blind to 321.60,
Yeah.
which is going to cost you 480. You've only got 880. So you can't let the blinds get to you again. I don't know if you did or not, I've got no idea. But for future reference, you can't let them come through you again. So you want to find some opportunity to put your chips in and hope for the best.
Yeah.
At this stage.
Yeah, it's coming up in the next hand. I'm going to be doing the big... Oh, no. See, my eyes are going all wrong. I think I might need the analysis glasses again.
Of course you do. Everybody does, Cara.
I'm so sorry. I
Well,
can't seem to focus on the table.
Atrocity's got most of the chips and most of the luck. Look, 3 jacks.
Wow.
Very nice. You're into 4th.
I know. I was very happy about that.
Well, actually 3rd, but there's 4 players left. Okay, so now we've got
Bubble time.
We've got a problem, haven't we? Because you've got 320 in.
I know.
You've
I
only
should
got
have just gone
560
all in.
left.
I wish I had.
What are you going to do?
I wish I'd either gone all in the beginning.
Well, you're on the big blind there.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
It was. I just didn't feel strong enough.
Do you do it here? You've got to do it here. Yes. Oh, delightful. 2 pair. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
You had the best hand all the way, didn't you?
I did, but it didn't cripple him at all because Robo Squirrel has a much higher stack than me.
Well,
but
I
at this
mean,
point, we're in...
He's robotic. He can gather nuts with a special conveyor belt tongue, I imagine. Queen 8 on the button. Now, here, I think you should push all your chips in.
I know. I should have done... I'm so scared of pushing all in when I've got a fairly decent stack compared to the rest of the people at the table.
Are you comfortable with why you should have done there?
Because it would have pushed them off of it, and I would have still on the blinds, and they're good to do.
Let's come back to that.
Okay.
Because that's kind of...
Wrong?
No, it's just a learning point that isn't immediately obvious.
I thought 10 Jack was a good hand. See, maybe I should have gone all in, but I don't think it would have stopped Robo Squirrel. He had a pair of kings.
No, you have to play now.
Yeah, I just don't have enough.
Well, you've run into kings. It's
Yeah.
unlucky to run into kings, basically. You've bubbled, Cara.
I know, I bubbled.
Cara bubbled. Well done, though.
Thank you. I came in 4th. I mean, it's not my best showing. It's not my best showing, but, I tried. So,
Where did you finish when we did the last show? You got paid. Did you win?
No, I came 3rd.
3rd, but you got paid,
I
right?
did.
That's
I was
right.
so excited
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
cool.
That was a good day.
We'll talk about, at some point, we'll talk about that Queen 8, because that's quite important.
Okay, Queen 8.
Queen
Yes.
8. I've just
Marking
written
it down on
Queen
my
8.
piece of
I
paper.
think that's the first thing I've written down on this paper that's always in front of me that has actually anything to do with the show.
Yeah, the rest of it's all doodles.
And some swear words.
Shocking.
No, not really. I don't. I
Not
don't
on
do
telly.
That. Sue, if you're watching, I never have.
He doesn't, honestly. Right, so the three titans are battling it out now for their big prize in this $2 tournament.
I want Robo Squirrel to win because
It's a great name.
it's just a great idea, isn't it?
I know, I love it.
In The Simpsons once, there was a squirrel that had been exposed to nuclear waste and he shot down an acorn with lasers from his eyes.
I remember that.
I'd imagine that's one thing that Robo Squirrel can do.
Mm-hmm. Laser eyes.
Robo Squirrel, do you fight crime or are you actually using your powers for evil? Which way round? Because it could go either way, couldn't it?
That's a very good question. It could be, you know, good Robo Squirrel or evil Robo Squirrel. Depends on your perspective, I suppose. Right, well, Cat 10 is the short stack at this point. With Ace 10, that's probably a pretty
nice
good
to find
time.
a hand when you're short stacked.
Good time to go all in.
Yeah, this tournament's starting to get a bit random. These blinds are very big.
Mm-hmm.
When they go up the next time, what's more random than random? Chaos.
Oh, yes.
Chaotic.
Chaotic. It's incredibly chaotic. Right,
Well, Atrocity now has to
again.
call, and players make this mistake. Atrocity made a raise there where if Cat doesn't fold...
8, 9, 10, Jack. Oh, no.
7,
7, 8, 9. Oh,
10
6, 7,
Jack.
8, 9, 10,
So
Jack.
it's all of them.
Ooh, ah.
Atrocity versus Robo Squirrel.
Mm-hmm. It is like a Clash of the Titans. I could see this as some sort of comic book style.
Very much so.
Yeah, Atrocity against Robo Squirrel. So Robo Squirrel's obviously good. Atrocity with a name like that.
Okay.
It's going to have to be the
Atrocity's
baddie.
bad. Sorry, Atrocity, for rooting against you, but...
Oh, no, you know, it's
We
quite
are,
cool to be the
because
baddie.
It's
sometimes.
cool, yeah, but we don't want you to win. We want
The forces of good.
holy nut gatherers, Batman. That's all we...
The forces of good. Robo Squirrel defends the world and his big blind, or small blind. There we go. Ah, uh-oh.
Unlucky Robo Squirrel run into King Queen.
Yep.
And Atrocity. The forces of darkness are going to prevail. But as we all know, the victory of evil is only temporary and good will out in the long run.
In the end, that's right. Go
that-
back to
is that
lick his
part of
wounds
poker?
and... Oh.
You bubbled.
I did, I
Bless
bubbled.
you. Unlucky.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Can I do my Bruce Forsyth bit?
Okay.
Didn't she do well, eh?
Right, thank
I
you very
can't do
much.
the voice because I can't do voices.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But I do mean the sentiment.
Oh, well, thanks very much. And thanks everyone out there who watched. If you do want to send in your comments, please do so over the break, because I would love to hear what you think about my play and how perhaps I can improve. But before we do go to the break, we do have an email here from a Mr. Ever. Says, hey guys, great show as per usual. Just thought I'd send you a quick email to check whether I made the correct play earlier this evening. I was in a $10 single table sit and go, made it to the bubble, I know how you feel, and was dealt Jack King on the button. I decided to raise 4 times the big blind and was called by the big blind. The flop came down Jack 10-7. The table had been extremely loose. So when the big blind bet for all my stack, I proceeded to call. He turned over 10-7, and I ended up losing the pot and going out just outside the money. Ouch. I feel for you. I know how that feels. We're there together. Did I do anything wrong? Cheers, and that's from Ever. Yeah?
Yeah. I'm just waiting for me to be on telly, and then I'm going to talk to the viewers. So otherwise it looks like I'm a ventriloquist.
There we go.
Do you see how that would have been bad? I don't know if you did anything wrong. Probably not. I don't know if you did anything wrong because you haven't put the chip totals in the problem, and it's impossible for me to know. I expect that you didn't, because you're down near the end of a single table. Yeah. You flopped a pretty good hand. Yeah. And I mean, the guy's hit 2 pair, which is quite unlikely.
Right.
But if you want to email back with the chip tails on, I can tell you for definite whether you did anything wrong or not. It's very hard to know because if you had a lot of chips left and you called, then potentially you might have made a mistake. If you were short stacked, maybe not, and it is complicated by the fact that the next person out bubbles. So I can't give you a definitive answer because I need to know the amounts.
Okay, and it was a loose table, as you said. So, I mean, I think that would have something to do with the way I played it anyways.
Oh,
but
yeah,
once we come back from the break, maybe you can talk me through that bit as well.
Okay.
Seeing if playing at a loose table, should I adjust my play in that sort of way?
Cool,
Yeah?
and I'm going to tell you about Queen 8.
And Queen 8s as well. But in the meantime...
Still got the final multi-table to do, haven't we?
Oh yeah, the final of the multi-table.
Yes.
Don't go away because there's so much left to do tonight. Thanks very much. Hello and welcome back to the final hour here of Amateur Night, Beginner's Night on Poker Night Live.
The best hour, to my mind.
Absolutely true. If you enjoyed the last three, this is gold.
Yeah. Oh,
Poker gold.
Liquid.
Oh, yes. Of the poker
Probably.
variety. I'm not sure where we're going with that. But
somewhere good.
I'm very sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, do carry on.
Okay, I will do. You were going to talk to me about some of my play, because in the last hour we were watching back a tournament, a $2 tournament that I was playing in under the name Great Scott. I came in 4th, so I bubbled. Just outside the money, unfortunately. Although I didn't play too badly, but you did say you'd come back to me and talk about a hand that I'd played, or not played, with Queen 8.
Yes.
Right.
And basically it's to make a bigger point, which is that what I thought you were doing well is that you've learned the value of hands.
Right.
You've learned what hands you can play and what hands you can't play in classical fashion, which is like one of the things that we need to do if we're going to play well at poker.
Okay.
What you now need to do well in tournaments later on, this is for tournaments obviously, is then be able to play bad cards.
Yeah.
And you're not playing then on the strength of the cards. It's a very important delineation to make. You're playing on the basis of other factors, principally your stack, the blinds, your position, your opponents, that kind of deal. And things are always easier when you've got an illustration.
Yeah.
And I think the illustration from that tournament was when 4 players and you've got Queen 8. Now your mentality at this stage of the tournament, late on, should be to look for opportunities to make chips.
Yeah.
You're no longer in survival mode. You're looking to accumulate chips, because if you don't, the blinds will take care of you.
Yeah.
You had 1,120 chips. I know, I wrote it down. and the blinds were 160, 320. So in 2 rounds, you're going to be all but broke.
Right.
And there's only 4 players, so in 8 hands, you're going to be all but broke. So you can't sit still. You must take opportunities. Okay?
Good. Okay.
Now, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the hand that we're talking about, the first player had passed. You're on the button. So it's you versus 2 other guys, and those 2 other guys have got 2 random hands. We don't know anything about their hands.
Yeah.
The likelihood is, and if you don't believe me, deal out lots of hands at home, or just play poker for a while, you'll soon learn this. The likelihood is there'll be bad hands.
Right.
Because the vast majority of hands are bad hands. Certainly not hands that they're going to want to call an all-in bet with. So that's the basis that we're working on. So because your stack is under threat from the blinds, but because you have enough chips to be slightly scary, because Kara had 1,100 chips, so when she moves in, that's still a reasonably big call for somebody to make.
Okay.
You should probably put all your chips in there with almost any cards, I would say.
Really?
Because
I did come up against a pair of kings,
because
the hand right after.
You know, now you're playing results, and we've talked about that.
Yeah.
You may. This is the point. Is this very, very important shift to make? The point is this: you may come up against a big hand, right? You may get knocked out by doing this, but if you don't do this, you will be knocked out anyway.
Right.
Because the blinds will get you.
Yeah.
Statistically, in all likelihood, the blinds will get you before you have a good hand.
Okay.
So waiting for a good hand is actually now a losing strategy. Okay?
And the probability is that my opponent, my one opponent even, will not have as good a hand as I do with Queen 8.
Well, certainly with Queen 8, you know, you've got a little bit of something if you are called. You've got a fighting chance.
Right.
Whether you should do it with, say, 5-2 depends on your judgment about the players in the blinds and how likely they are to call.
Okay.
But with Queen 8, it's a little bit of something. You know, if you hit the Queen, you probably are going to win. But the reason... Just to clarify, the reason why it's a good move is that there is a decent chance they'll throw their hands away, right?
Okay.
And you can't buy that kind of extra value.
Right,
Because you may pick up 480 chips for nothing, and 480 chips on your stack then is a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
The other factor, and I'm talking about this for a long time, but it's really important to get a handle on how you play in the later stages. The other factor is you've got one more hand, and then the hand after that you've got to play the big blind. Once you pay that big blind, you've paid 320 over it, you've only got 800 left. Much less scary once you move in for people. The big blind then, when you've got 800, will only have to pay an additional 500 and something.
Right.
At the moment he's got to pay 800 and something, makes a difference. So the more chips you have when you make these moves, the more powerful it is. That's why we don't want to sit still. We want to make moves when we've got a chance that everybody will fold. Okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, what happens will happen to you, which is you'll get blinded down. You then had Jack 10, and basically, with the Jack 10, you made a raise. I think that's the right thing to do rather than wait for the blind. I would have gone all in. You didn't go all in, because why wouldn't you go all in? Because what happens is you made a raise, somebody comes to the top, you've got to call anyway.
Right.
So you might as well make it more scary in the first place and push it all in. Guy had kings behind you. That's out of your control. You're actually very unlucky to find that good hand behind you.
So, yeah.
That's, that's
it
actually...
It may happen, it may not.
In terms of analysis...
With the analysis glasses on.
That's right. It's neither here nor there whether you went out on that hand or not. All that we're interested in is did you do the right thing or not.
Yeah.
So... What I saw, and I'm sure what's true of a lot of people out there, is just to understand that when it gets short-handed in tournaments, you just need to decide when to play using different criteria. Stop thinking about your cards so much. Start thinking about, where's my opportunity to get some chips here? Otherwise, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So don't worry about what cards you're being dealt. Look at opportunities, position, whose blinds can I take, etc., etc.
Okay. I will keep that in mind for the next time. I'm trying to play more as well before the next time I'm on to do the beat the presenter.
But that's two fourths in a row.
I know.
It's better than me.
I did come third as well at one point, so I'm,
It's better than me. It's better than Mark Bannon.
Well, I'm trying, but you guys have a bit more to prove, though, so you can't just... No.
Believe you me now, we have a huge amount to prove.
No. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Shall we take a look at some poker?
Yeah.
I just dig
can we do an email? Can we do an email?
We're on the final table of the multi-table tournament.
I love a final table.
Ooh, let's take a look.
Great. Getting quite tired, Kara. Have you got any uplifting drugs?
Coffee.
That's what I'm talking about. What else would I be talking about?
Well, thankfully, someone's bringing you a cup of coffee now.
Ace 10 versus Ace King. Hooray. Versus Jacks.
Wow. See, now that's what you should do with a King Ace. Go all in.
Yeah.
I really probably should have.
Sometimes. Okay, so this is our final table, the multi-table tournament, which has been going on all night in the background as we've been carrying on our merry way. And congratulations to everyone that made it this far, because they've beaten 118 competitors. No, excuse me, 109.
No, I can tell you.
Was it 127 that were in it?
127.
So they've beaten 119 to be here. So well done them. But the funny thing about a poker tournament, actually all tournaments I guess, is the closer you get to winning, the less enamoured you are of finishing 9th.
Yeah, I suppose so. Even though at 9th you make $38.10.
Not to be sneezed at.
No, not to be sneezed at.
What are they playing for tonight, Kara?
Tonight, Nick, they're playing for a top prize of $381. And this lovely lounge set. No, not really, not the lounge set, I'm sorry. Thank you. That was my wheel of, no, not my wheel of fortune, my, did you get the prices right?
Prices right,
yeah, that was my prices right voice.
That's cool.
Thank you.
I would so like to host the prices right.
Oh yeah. So would I, how much fun would that be?
You can't, you're a lady. You have to be...
I know.
You have to be a prize girl.
They got the rubbish jobs. Awful.
Actually, has there ever been a woman host of a big time game show? It's always a man, isn't it?
So sexist.
Well, that's just a case.
No, I think you're right. You've got, Carol Vorderman turning the letters over. You've got Vanna White turning the letters over. You've got...
Yeah.
It's just... Oh, well.
See, because this is they gave Davina a chat show. Davina's a terrible person to host a chat show, but she could host a big game show because she's all about being up in energy. Of course, I've just been corrected. The producer's saying Anne Robinson, borderline whether that's a woman.
Glad you went there, because I wasn't going to.
We'll go with it. Well, I always do.
Dame Edna Everidge, she didn't do a game show, but blankety blank. That was Lily Savage.
Yes, not a woman.
But a lady, nonetheless.
A lady.
A lady, nonetheless.
So if you're interested in playing tournament poker, if you just started playing tournament poker, I would say go no further than watching this multi-table tournament. There's one of these on most nights on Poker Night Live, and you will learn everything you need to know. Sometimes by seeing good play, sometimes by seeing people make mistakes.
I quite fancy doing one of these tomorrow night. I wonder how easy it would be to log on from home. Oh, I might just do that.
Very easy.
Well, maybe I'll just do that. Play on
Oh,
one of the
maybe you
TV
can.
tables at home. How exciting would that be? Oh,
That'd be very exciting.
I think I'd
You're
enjoy that.
liking that, aren't you?
I am. Right, as we're watching the multi-table tournament, and they're sort of revving up here at the final table, shall we go through an email?
Why not? We can always
Okay.
break off if we see a big hand, can't
This
we?
is true. Multitasking. You are the master of the multitask.
Thanks, Cara.
You're welcome. And I'm very good at the
You've given me
pointless
a lot of compliments in the last half hour.
Yes, haven't
I
I?
was thinking of trying to make up for the rudeness earlier.
I know. I shouldn't have been making
You
fun.
gotta be careful because I'll have you replaced by Karen from France.
Oh, because you have that kind of power.
I don't, but in my head
Yeah.
I do.
My fans, all 4 of them, would be up in arms about that.
I wouldn't offend your mother anyway, I wouldn't.
Exactly. She's probably watching right now. So you should be nice. Thank you very much.
All right, sorry.
Right. This is an email from Russ.
Thank you, Russ. Good evening, Russ.
Good evening, Russ. He says, hi guys, I was wondering what your thoughts are on playing suited and unsuited connectors in the early and late stages of a sit and go. I've recently tried to loosen up my play as I found that I was over tight and getting blinded out of some tourneys if I didn't hit a hand at the right time. So I now try and see some flops early on.
Lost a player, Nat Pans goes down. Made a move with the King 9. And got done in by Bowler J. And he will finish in 7th place. Sorry, Cara. Just
No, that's absolutely fine.
continue.
Right. Now this is something that I really empathise with, this question, because I do tend to get blinded out of tourneys as well.
Yes, just to draw your attention to Bowler J knocking out another player. I think he's going to keep doing this. This is very impressive. Bowler J
lucky.
terminating people. She just doesn't want to hear the email.
Move on.
Yeah, move on already. Watch this.
He's
Look
like,
at me.
He's like that villain from 007 movies with the bowler hat that he throws. You know.
That's exactly what I think he does.
He's just exterminating them with his bowlerness.
Odd job.
That was it. Thank you. Odd job. That's who I was thinking of.
Do you remember one of the Austin Powers films, isn't it, where...
With the shoe.
With the shoe.
Yeah.
That was funny. How? He throws the shoe. Very good. Humorous.
Very humorous, and I'm sure equally so for the people at home. Just enjoy our chat.
Free bat doubles up. Well done, free bat. See if you can get this email out. Go on,
Okay.
I challenge you.
Speed read this one. Right, I've recently tried to loosen up my play as I found I was over tight and getting blinded out of some tournaments if I didn't hit a hand at the right time. So I now try and see some flops early on and pick up chips with hands I wouldn't have usually played with my tight style. The trouble I have is that if connectors hit the flop but not in a straight or flush potential but just as a pair or the bottom 2 pair, this is where I lose my way with playing them, either folding what would have been a winning hand or losing a big pot, leaving me in bad shape for the rest of the tournament. What shall I do?
Bowler J faces the decision with Ace Queen. He waited till he finished the email before he drew our
That's nice of
attention
him.
to the game again. And he makes a very good decision because he was in trouble against the Ace King. Russ, and anyone else having this problem, and this is a problem that many of you will have, because what you'll do is you'll learn, and I know because I did it, what you'll do is you'll learn the value of cards, you'll learn that you need to play tight to play good poker, and you will end up, at some point in your poker education, depending how quickly you develop, could be after a couple of months, could be after a year, you'll get to a point where you're doing well in tournaments, but you're always either not quite getting there or just scraping into the money and not having enough chips once you do that. And the reason is that you have waited for the good cards haven't come along enough, and
As they don't in normal play.
That's right. And the blinds have caught up with you. Or other players have overtaken you, other players have all got big stacks and they can bully you. What you need to do after the initial stage of the tournament is you need to find opportunities to make chips. And Russ, I'll give you this piece of advice, and this is a gift to you from God. Not me, God. I wish somebody had said this to me a long, long time ago, many years ago, when I was struggling with this problem. You're playing cards too much, not playing opportunities.
Okay.
You sent me an email asking about loosening up your play in terms of the cards that you're playing and how to play when you slightly connect with these cards. It's a completely valid question, but I'm telling you, buddy, in terms of your tournament experience and doing better in tournaments, what you need to find are opportunities to make chips. And these are things like getting heads up with a player weaker than you that you can push off a pot, regardless of your cards. When you can steal the blinds from what positions and how you can do that. What pots you can steal on the flop. All this good stuff that at the moment will be missing from your game, but that you want to spend the next few months adding to your game. I would point you the way, I'm going to be saying this a lot on the show recently, just because I happen to have recently rediscovered them, of Daniel Negreanu's column. I'd send you there with a health warning, which is that he is an absolutely excellent player. He's one of the best tournament players on the planet, and he has fantastic judgment. So he plays all kinds of hands, and he has very, very good judgment about when he's ahead and when he's behind.
Yeah.
So you don't want to take the idea too far and start getting rid of the good stuff, because you've got the good stuff, you've got the basics of a good game, you know when to play, when not to play. But what you want to do is just add those 4 or 5 opportunities where you get some free money in the middle of a tournament, which will get you into a better position.
Yeah. See, now this is exactly what I've been having trouble with myself, so that's great advice.
And it completely links into the Queen 8 hand we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not about the cards, Russ, Kara, everyone. It's not about the cards. It's about the position, stack size, who you're playing against, and we lose a player, ace duels. I'm not going to stop talking. Just to finish off, it's not about the cards, guys. It's only partially about the cards. I hope that helps, Russ. And we're down to 4 very quickly. They haven't been messing about, have they? Goodness me.
No.
Fast action on Poker Night Live.
Well, when they do start to get down to the final few on the multi-tables, it does go a bit fast, doesn't it?
Especially on Tuesday night, everyone's got work meetings
in the
morning.
Wonder if they're going to be calling in
final
sick.
Table.
No.
Free bet with King 7. He's done exactly the right thing. Unluckily for him, he's found a bad hand behind him. Same situation we're talking about. He had 6,000 chips and it's paid dividends.
Yeah.
See, this is the point. If you get your chips in, you don't want to be called, potentially. But if you are called, you've always got a chance in Hold'em. When the money goes in before the flop, any 2 cards against any 2 cards, you've always got a chance. I think the worst matchup you can have before the flop is King-King versus King-3 unsuited. It's something like that. And it's something like 12 to 1. Now, that's a massive advantage. Quite right, too. It should be Kings against King-3. But think about it. Once in every 13 shots, you're still going to win. So the worst case scenario, once in every 13 isn't the odds of winning the lottery, isn't flying to the moon by flapping your arms. It's going to happen occasionally. So bear that in mind, guys. When the money goes in before the flop, it's basically a bit of a lottery. Either player can win. So be less afraid to get your chips in there when you're starting to get short stacked.
I need to remember that.
Have courage, brave Chaffinch.
Yes.
Victory will be yours.
I think I might just get myself a little Chaffinch. You know, as the my
as
card
your little
holder.
Mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
To protect my cards.
Yeah.
I like it.
Get yourself whichever one it is that has the pink breast, because they're cooler. It's either the male or the female.
All
I
right.
can't remember. I'm not a Chaffinch expert. Somebody
What colour are they normally?
will email in.
In the main.
I think that the one that isn't pink, I think, is like just quite a dull brown.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Perhaps our viewers know. Poker at pokernightlive.co.uk if you've got any Chaffinch facts for us. Most treasured of all the domestic garden birds. Fruit bat putting in a tiny little bet. Very short stacked, but hanging on gamely. We appear to have entered a parallel dimension where time moves slowly. Free bat goes all in, and it's good judgment on his part. He's got the best hand.
Go on, fruit bat. Top pair.
Well, that's one of those situations where Bowler J doesn't like it, but he
It doesn't
felt
matter.
he had to call.
Yep. Still doing all right for chips-ish.
Yeah, well, Fruitbat's the story. He's come from 6,000 chips up to 34,000 chips, so it's a great comeback. And just shows if you get short stacked, get your chips in, you've still got a shot. No Limit Hold'em, and any of you that have watched the show for even a few nights will know, No Limit Hold'em is a very fast game. It can change really, really quickly.
That is the truth. We've seen some amazing comeback stories, especially in the multi-table, because it does look like there's a lot more play in this in the final stages. I mean, the blinds are 1,000, 2,000, and the shortest stack here is 33,000.
The truth is there is more play, but what happens is, you're absolutely right, there's plenty of play, but the guys always play really fast. They actually don't have to. My tip would be to anyone who wants to enter one of these multi-tables, if they get to the final table, is to sit back and let people knock each other out.
Yeah.
Because they play very, very fast, generally speaking.
Yeah, going all in like that.
That's very fast.
With ace-3, wow.
Well, I hate those moves that people make. And it's a simple equation. He's bet 30-odd thousand to win 3,000. Does that sound like a good investment to you? If you've never played poker, would that sound like a good investment to you?
No, definitely not.
And he can accomplish exactly the same by betting about 7,000. So why put the 30,000 in? Because the only time he's going to get called is when he's up slack alley without a parachute.
Yeah.
Is when he's in real trouble.
And then you don't want to have put your entire stack in. Why not just have put in, 3 times a big blind? I agree. I think that's absolutely correct. Aren't you glad that I concur?
Yes.
That means so much.
I like it when we're as one, Kara.
As one mind.
As one presenting mind.
The chaffinch is the UK's second commonest breeding bird, by the way, just so you know. In case you were wondering. And it's arguably the most colourful of the UK's finches.
And she described it as common because I see it as exceptional.
Ah, yes.
Turquoise plumed magnificence of the chaffinch. It's the male chaffinch. We have had that confirmed now from headquarters. The male chaffinch has the turquoise plume and pink breast. We'll admire.
That's because they need to have all that showy stuff to attract the female.
Exactly. Now, Bowler J then moved in with a pair of 8s there, and that was much better. Completely different circumstance. Rob Van Slam, gonna sneeze, made the raise, and he came over the top, and he couldn't come over the top for anything less than that to be taken seriously. So he pushed all in. Fine move, good play, no problem. Good play.
Good play.
Who's your money on, Kara?
My money is on Fruitbat. No, actually, my money's on Bowler J.
Really?
Yeah. I like the visual image of him with the bowler hat and
I'll have Fruitbat then, because I want the comeback story. The fairy tale story, that's what I want.
I hear ya, I hear ya. Right, Ace Jack against Jack Queen. Are they going to get paid? There's 30,000 in the pot. That's not bad.
I think Fruitbat thought about bluffing at the end there. He had the straight draw through the hand and didn't hit it. And we could see the cards. He may well have been successful, but...
Dangerous.
Well, it always takes a lot of courage to stick your chips in with nothing.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Are you allergic to me?
Well, it would have taken 3.5 hours to come on. So
yeah, I
probably
suppose
not.
so. Ooh, 3 8s.
Yeah, big hand for Rob Van Stam, and fortunately
Doesn't
for
get much
him,
out of it.
no. That's frustrating.
It certainly is.
What do we say, Kara? There are no good situations. Oh dear. There are no good. There are no good hands. Only good situations.
Yeah, that's what you say. I think a pair of kings is a pretty good hand.
Well.
So when you say there are no good hands.
Not if someone's got a pair of aces. That's the point,
then a pair of
isn't it?
aces is a good hand.
Not if somebody's got 3 8s.
Oh, all right.
See what I'm saying?
A royal flush is a pretty good hand.
Not if none of your opponents have got anything, because you won't get paid.
Oh.
That's my point.
God.
Look, I didn't invent the same. Look, another set of aces. 8s. I'm going mental. Another set of 8s.
Look at that.
They're on special offer.
They are today. Tonight, one time only kind of thing.
Now, here's one of the things that separates really good players from less good players, and that's how to get paid the most when you have a good hand.
What would you do now?
I think he's got to bet at that stage. In that situation, he's not really going to get paid because, as we can see, Bowler J doesn't have anything. So sometimes you just won't get paid. But the point is, everyone gets good hands. The way some people moan, you'd think that that wasn't true. But everyone gets good hands. So it's not what hands you get, it's how much money you win when you get them.
True.
Yes, it is, Kara.
I concur. Right, let's have another email. This one's from Will. Stop me if there's something, you know, that you need to see on the screen there.
All right.
It says, hi, Kara and Nick. I'd like to ask Nick about big re-raises pre-flop.
Okay.
Okay. Isn't it a bit risky if you haven't got ace, ace, or king, king? And if you have either of the aforementioned, and there is a raise, isn't it better to call and have your premium hand camouflaged by the big raise, which should scare out most of the other players?
I will assimilate that while we watch Bowler J go all in. And Rob Van Stam's got a marginal decision. It's going to cost him about another 15,000. He folds. And we could see it was the right decision. He was behind to the pair of 9s.
Go on, Bowler J.
Your favourite? Because of what he can do with his tiny hat.
Yeah, pretty much. I always wondered, was there like a blade in the brim or what?
Well, do you know, they were never clear about that,
No,
were they?
or was it just super sharp felt? Because seriously, you could get a heck of a felt cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They never said.
No.
Although he did take down a statue with it when he goes, show them what you can do, job or whatever, and he takes the statue. So that is very sharp felt, isn't it?
That's
if he can.
true. It is quite an odd
But
job.
then, if he's got a steel thing in his head, in his hat, after a long day of wearing that, that is going to get right on your nerves.
Well, probably that's why he had such a thick neck, I imagine. Like lifting weights all day with your head.
Pieces are coming together, aren't they?
They are.
It all makes sense.
Yep. So big re-raises pre-flop.
What of them?
Isn't it a
Will
bit
wants
risky
to know,
if you haven't got, you know, aces
well,
or kings?
everything's risky, Will. Getting up in the morning's risky.
What do you mean by big re-raises as well? I suppose if someone's raised 3 times a big blind and then you... Pretty much anything after that's a big re-raise, isn't it?
If you... Re-raising before the flop communicates tremendous strength.
Right.
Because what you're saying is, I know that you've got a good hand. Because remember, somebody's raised. So when somebody's raised, they're saying they've got a good hand. So you're saying, I know you've got a good hand. Check me out. Mine is even better.
Right.
So it communicates a tremendous strength. So my answer to the email would be, what are you trying to accomplish? You can't dismiss big re-raises and say they're no good. In the same way, you can't say big re-raises, they're brilliant. We can never do either of those things in poker because it's a weapon in our armoury that we have at our disposal, and it depends what you're trying to accomplish. So you'd use big re-raises to communicate tremendous strength, and that could be one of 2 occasions. One is when you really have got tremendous strength, and you want to win the pot right there, or you just want to tell people you've got a big hand.
Right.
The other time you might do it is normally it would be in a tournament later on. Is when you're making a move on someone.
Okay.
And you know that they know it means I'm saying I've got tremendous strength. I actually haven't. I just think that I can get rid of you and take the chips that you raised with.
Okay.
So those are the 2 times you'd use it. Will's also said, is it not better when with a big hand sometimes to call a raise to camouflage the fact that you've got aces or kings? Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes that's a legitimate tactic.
Okay.
But it depends who you're playing against, what the situation is. And as ever in poker, ask yourself a question. What am I trying to accomplish? If you want to win the money right there without too much risk, if you don't want to see a flop, then re-raising is probably the best move. If you want to knock everybody else out and just play heads up with the razor, again, re-raising is probably is the best move.
Okay.
If you're in late position and you're guaranteed it'll probably be heads up, maybe calling disguising your hand is the best move. So it varies depending on the situation.
Okay. There are no bad cards, only bad situations.
Well, that's a bad situation for G67 because Fruitbat's got the kings and survives. Go on, the Batmeister. Go on, you fruity bitch. Can I say that? No. No. I meant as like the female of the species.
Yes, I see.
Well, I presume it's a female Fruitbat.
Uh-huh. You may be correct there.
Karen,
I do not know what
don't
the...
worry, we're not going to get taken off air. You're all right. Believe you me, if saying bad things got us taken off the air, the devilfish would have achieved it 2 weeks ago. And he would have done it 40 times over.
I'm so sorry I missed that.
I think we all are. Rob Van Slam. Raises and wins. Are you enjoying your Chaffinch research?
I like it. I'm wishing that I could have it as a screen name, but I've already got screen names.
Just have it as your lucky.
Yeah. I like it. And the eye of the Chaffinch really is quite beady and intense. So
I know that.
Eye of the Chaffinch makes a lot of sense to me.
Bad situation for Fruitbat. Actually quite like the move he's made there. G67 is raised on the button and could have anything. And he's put the test to this. And G67 is thinking about throwing this away. Well, he's going to be playing for almost all his chips, so it is a big decision for him. Finally calls, he's going to like what he sees. Fruitbat can a club or a 7 to get out. Oh, the bat's gone down in flames.
Oh, no. Wasn't he your tip to win?
He was my wish to win,
Oh,
Carrie.
oh, okay.
See how I semantically massaged things there.
Different situation.
Bad luck, Fruitbat, but well played. A bold fight. You were almost out, and he battled to 4, so that's good play. I'm interested. I now think G67 is going to win because he actually thought about throwing away Ace 10, and that was a tough call to make. He will throw this one away.
Come on, Rob Van Slam. I think that your pair of 3s definitely going to win that. Yes.
Nice. What? What's wrong?
Nothing.
Don't panic, Kara.
I'm not panicking. Not at all.
So we're all evenly matched here, three-handed.
Yeah.
It really is anyone's tournament. Not too much difference between the stacks. And I like G67's play. I like the fact that he thought about throwing away that Ace 10 before making the right decision. That says to me that he's thinking about what he's doing. And too many times on the show and in poker in general, we see players acting on autopilot. And poker's not a game where you should do that because poker's a game of decisions.
Right.
And decisions require a little bit of thought.
You mean they're ticking the box that says, you know, fold when it gets to you or check when it gets to you?
Sometimes they're just making a decision very fast and doing it automatically. I was less keen on G67's play there. He's taken a risk by not raising before the flop. He's got away with it, but why let them in for free? I know it's a good hand, but...
Yeah, it didn't pay off anyways. A dangerous thing to do.
Well, this is the thing. It is a dangerous thing to do. It's dangerous also, it's unnecessary because a raise on the button there doesn't say big hand. It actually, you know, the other players will be thinking, well, this could
Maybe
be a
he's
steal.
hiding,
Or,
yeah.
So I wouldn't have worried too much about raising there. And but, you know, everyone has a different way. That's the beautiful thing about poker, Kara. There is always a different opinion. It's very difficult to be completely wrong at poker. I mean, some players do manage it, but a lot of the time there is a different opinion that you can take, and that's why you should get as much. If you want to be good at poker, you should get as much information as you can from different sources. But make your own mind up.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of information out there, and there's lots of different theories about how to play.
There is. And having said that, I'm now kind of thinking about some of the bad information that I've... Well, neither player has very much. If one of them wants to put in a sizable bet, they can probably take this. And Rob Van Slam does just that. Doesn't have a hand, but does have some guts. And gets the glory, takes the chip lead.
Well, we were talking about loose play earlier on and about loosening up your game. And Loomis, who we were looking at in some of our games, who you've said, and well, I mean, we've both said, is not notoriously loose, but definitely someone that you could pick out on the show as being a rather loose player, would you not say?
I would say.
Okay.
He has a lively style.
A lively style of play.
Yes.
And I enjoy playing both against Loomis, whenever that does happen, and watching him play. He said, I decided to play loose early on because in those Beat the Presenter games, too many times I've seen 5 or 6 players left when the blinds are at 320, 640, and I don't want to be at the final 6 with 2 big blinds left. Yeah, I can understand that. He said it didn't work this time. I left my 50-cent $1 cash game with $300 though, got to 500, woo, but played an open-ended straight flush draw badly. Ouch.
That's interesting. How did you play it badly? Quite interested. Well, he definitely has a point, because if you've been watching the Beat the Presenter games, people do play very tight. I was talking to James about this the other day. I still haven't completely figured out why they play tight, but they definitely do. And that's what's caused some of the presenters, one of them talking to you now, to have trouble, because I think what we expected is that people would be trying to get us out. Big hand here, Bowler J's going to go out. Move with the King 8, and he's gone out in 3rd place, and he's done well to finish 3rd, but he's going to be asking himself, did he really need to make that move right then with that hand? But he's done it now, it's history. But he played well. I'm afraid his magical hat didn't do it, Cara.
Oh, well. But it did get him to 3rd, which is, you know,
It did
good.
get him to 3rd. So Loomis has got a point by playing loose, trying to get some chips early on. It's like we always say, the problem with playing loose is that it's actually quite a difficult thing to do well. And some of the top players that I know a lot of people see on TV, like Gus Hansen and Daniel Negreanu and Phil Ivey and others, do play loose. But they are excellent players, and they're very good at judging situations. What happens when you play more hands, like hands outside the ones that we normally recommend, is you, like, say you play a hand like 10-8, and let's say the flop comes 2-8 queen, so you've got middle pair. That's what we call a marginal situation. Some of the time you will have the best hand, some of the time you'll be in a lot of trouble. And the difficulty is judging when you're in one situation or the other. Now, these players that play a loose style have absolutely excellent judgment about when they're ahead and when they're behind. It's very, very difficult to be a good enough player to play that style. So in terms of loosening up your game, something that you should do at certain points, but you need to do it with caution. You need to not get carried away with it. And I think maybe Loomis, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, sometimes he goes too far that way and plays too loose.
Okay.
But basically, you want to mix it up a little bit. We got a heads-up confrontation, Cara.
Oh, we do. Oh, yes, we do.
You're excited. You're so excited. You got goosebumps.
I know. I've broken out in goosebumps.
Slightly more to do with the fact you're close to hypothermia.
I am quite cold at the moment. That could have a lot to do with my hysteria.
Rob Van Slam versus G67, and both of them have got plenty of chips. Should be a good match, this, because they are pretty close to evenly matched. And the blinds are not big, so there's play in the tournament. I think Rob Van Slam's going to put all in here.
Oh, yes.
And G67 might have to call. I think he'll pass based on his play before. I think he should pass, because Rob Van Slam's, you know, been re-raised and has come over the top again. So he's saying he can beat ace-4.
Yeah.
And G67 needs to listen to that.
But he doesn't.
But he doesn't.
And he's gone all in as well.
I thought we might have a long heads-up battle. It lasted about 4 hands. Rob Van Slam with 9s and 10s. and he'll be our winner. And that's the thing with heads-up poker in No Limit, Kara. It can last days. We've had ones on the MC which last half an hour, haven't we?
Yeah.
Or it can last 3 hands. I think G67 did make an error there. It's, you know, we talk about this, same we say early to beginners, try and get them into this habit. Listen to what the other player's saying with their bets and raises. I think I'm right in saying Rob Van Stam raised, G67 re-raised with the ace, not the worst play heads up, and Rob Van Stam came over the top again.
Yeah.
So Rob Van Stam's saying, I know you're saying that you've got a good hand, even you know I've got a good hand, but I've got an even better hand. That's what he's saying with his bets. And G67 has probably kind of thought maybe he is saying that, but then maybe he's bluffing me or something like that, and I've got an all right hand. I think actually, I know there was a lot of money in the pot there, but I think he could have, because of the level of the blinds, could have thrown away his ace-4 and lived to fight another day. But he didn't. No, he didn't.
Do you think that sometimes people get attached to that hand if they've raised it, someone's come and re-raised, and they could just go, no, don't re-raise me? Do you think that kind of comes, especially say at, you know, it's nearly 2 in the morning, that may have a bit to do with it?
Nearly 2 in the morning has a lot to do with a lot of things, doesn't it? Yeah, it does have a lot to do with it. It does. People get attached to hands, and people find it very difficult to throw hands away. So I was the pro that said this earlier, and in mentioning it, we're being a bit tongue-in-cheek about dealing out lots of hands at home and practicing throwing them away. But it's the #1 failing for players that learn poker. They don't throw away their starting hands enough, and then they find it difficult, as Kara says, once they get attached to a hand, either because they've hit a little something on the flop, or because they've put in raises, or because it's 2 in the morning. They get attached to hands. They find it difficult to get rid of them. When you know you're beaten, you need to be able to throw away that hand.
Yep.
It's a vital skill. But still, well played to both of them. Good result.
Absolutely, well played to both of them. Right, now we have a few emails for you.
Fabulous.
Right, you're ready with your, your analysis glasses on. And,
yeah. I actually am quite close to offering you my jacket.
I know.
Because you're actually dying, aren't you?
I'm so cold right now.
It's quite cold in here, and Kara's turned up in what's going to be described as a summer top.
Hey, I'm sorry, did I tell you I was actually in Florida last week? I don't know if I've mentioned it. Anyways, there we go. Email from Rick and Tanya. That's Donnie Ace and Tanya Babe. Hi, guys.
Like a poker couple.
They are a poker couple. Isn't that sweet?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Do you guys, like, play at the same time, maybe help each other out? I like that. I like it a lot.
Do you play at the same time?
Well, they might have a computer and a laptop, you know, set up side by side.
I was thinking kind of a 2 a.m. spin on it. You knew that. You tried to rise above it.
I kind of
took
did.
us down again.
Right.
Sorry.
Going to the email now. It says, hi guys. First of all, great show. Thank you very much, both of you. I've only been watching for a short while, but you've given me and my girlfriend a super boost in our play. Well, thank you. We started playing online games just over 4 months ago. Before, we only played very small games at home. On our second night online, we won 3 tournaments in a row at an online poker site. Wow, well done. And won our place in the Masters main event, which starts this Sunday. Congratulations and good luck to both of you. So were you playing just the one of you, or were you helping each other out? I'm just a bit curious. We were quite nervous as we know that there are some very good players in this event, but massive prizes as well. As we're quite new to poker, are there any tips that you can give us as to how our game should be played on the day, as we will be playing the pros? Once again, thanks for all your previous advice. Wasn't that nice?
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Good to hear, guys. Thanks for watching. Do keep us informed.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
We want to know how you get on, and we need to keep in touch throughout your poker career. That's what we want. Welcome to the family, not in a weird way. The first thing to do is to demystify it a bit, because at the moment it sounds like you're building up to be a big deal.
Right.
And as we know, when you build something up to be a big deal, that's when the problems happen in a lot of areas of life. So demystify it. It's just another poker session. The only difference is the prize money's bigger. So when you play it like just another poker session and you win it like you won the qualifying tournament, you'll just get a bigger boost in your account, of which we want to cut in a nice way. You say you'll be playing pros. Well, you will be playing some pros, but the majority of people in the tournament, because this is true in any big tournament these days, the majority of people will be players like you, who have qualified through a smaller tournament, or who are stepping out of their league. The majority of the people in the tournament will not be expert players, I promise you. If you do come up against expert players, because it's an online tournament, you won't know for a start because they'll all have different names, so you don't need to worry about that. But also bear in mind that I used to say to myself when I sat down with good players, like the first few times I went to Vegas and started playing in tournaments, you'd sit at a table and there'd be somebody whose book you'd read or you've seen on TV would be sitting at the table with you, and it's easy to get intimidated. I used to say to myself, and I still say to myself and to other people, they only get 2 cards the same as me. They start off with the same amount of chips as me, and on any given day, any poker player can beat any other poker player. These are the thoughts you have to have in mind. What I want you to do when you go into that tournament is not make it a big deal, make it fun. It sounds like you're having fun with your poker. You're doing it together, which is probably a lot of fun, unless you fall out. That never happens. But Kara's right, we want to know, do you play together on the same hand or what? Let us know that. But look at it as fun and enjoy it, and just look at it as another poker game. And again, when I talked about reframing things, see it as a brilliant opportunity. You know, somebody will win that tournament, and it could be you. And it's not like the lottery where it's 14 million to 1. In this case, let's say it's a big internet tournament. Let's say there's 1,000 people. It's 1,000 to 1. It's not the worst odds in the world. And you won the qualifying tournament, or you placed in the qualifying tournament. So you can obviously play a little bit of tournament poker. So that's what you need to focus on. And the key thing is to enjoy it. It'll be a great experience for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
It's got to be really exciting to play in sort of the main event.
Yeah. To play in any big
Fantastic.
tournament is a buzz, no question about it. And, you know, when you see that first place, but you need to not be nervous, see it as a good thing, see it as an exciting thing.
So make an event of it, but...
Fear and excitement, 2 sides of a thin coin.
Don't tip over the edge from excitement into nervousness, because that can actually cripple your play, something I've learned at my own small level of playing poker. If you get too nervous about things, then you just make different decisions that aren't as good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's a really good point. And what I'd say to them is, if you don't play with confidence, then you're stuffed at poker, because you'll never be able to call a bet, and you'll never be able to bluff. You'll never be able to push your chip like we were talking about if you get short stacked. You must have confidence. So understand that. Having said you could win it, the probability is that you'll go out at some point, right? That's the probability for everybody in the tournament. Because everybody but one person will go out at some point. So don't be scared of going out. It's a very important thing. You must back your judgment. If you think it's the right time to put your chips in, put your chips in. If you're the first person out, it really doesn't matter. The best tournament poker player of all time has been first out more than once in his poker career. You just have to accept that. If you play with too much fear, you won't take, exactly like Kara says, you won't take chances to make chips, and then you're going to go out anyway. So yeah.
So there you go. Well, good luck, and let us know what happens, because we'd love to hear. So after Sunday, tell us how it goes. Right, another one here from Sighing says, hi guys, I was wondering what kind of online cash game stakes you play, Nick, and at what point during a losing session do you decide to cut your losses, maybe for example 2 buy-ins, or do you subscribe to the play hours, not results school of thought?
The stakes I play vary. The most I'd put down in a cash session would be $1,000, but it would normally be a little bit less than that, to be honest. It would normally be sort of 500 or something. I'm a big believer that people play too high for their bankrolls, because people like to play in the highest game they can, and actually you need a lot more money at big bet poker than people think. So guys, please don't play in a level where you don't have a lot of comfort with. As opposed to quitting time, I never have a target for what I'm trying to achieve, because it's a completely false premise. Because unless you're never going to play poker again, the next hand you play is the next hand you play.
Right.
Right? So if you say, I'm going to double my buy-in and then I'm going to quit, that's completely artificial. And the next time, if you see poker as one big long game and you've got a bankroll, the next time you play, you just get the next hand. And you could have had that hand a few days ago when you quit, or you could have it now. That's not the thing to ask yourself. The thing to ask yourself is, am I in a good game and am I playing well?
Right.
So am I in a situation which is profitable? I would ask myself a third question, which is, am I enjoying this? Because I think you should always enjoy what you're doing. So those are the criteria. Are you in a good game? We're out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry, there are a few more emails we didn't get time for, but next time hopefully, so do email in again. We'll see you again here very soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks guys, see you soon.